Wednesday, not Tuesday, which is where it is in my head. It's almost the end of the week, guys. It's hump day. It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for 6&Twenty Metropolis, where I get to play who is quickly becoming my favorite character I've ever played, Malcolm, and he's the best. And I don't care what anyone says, he's awesome. Speaking of other awesome people on this cast and crew, let's go around and introduce them all. We'll start with Mr. G, a.k.a. Greg Grimjack21502. Who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
You said a lot of it.
I did.
I'm Grim21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. I will be playing Mr. Gephardt Caparelli today. He is an inventor. He has a little bit something else going on, and as of the end of last episode, he was pulled into a motherfucking gang fight that he was asleep. He had just watched the Tonight Show. He had gone to sleep. He had his tea, and then he was awoken, and now he's in a gang fight. So we'll see how that goes.
Sweet. Equally confused about the gang fight. Sam, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you playing today?
My name is Sam, a.k.a. Wizenfool on Twitch. The Wizenfool on Twitter. I like how you're already Malcolm right now.
I just am Malcolm at all times. Hold on, let me fix that.
I do stuff on the internet and play games. I'm going to be playing JP tonight. I thought I was being a super sleuth, but was really just going along with Malcolm trying to get into a brawl. And now... brawl.
And now you have regrets. Fantastic. Let's jump over to the most awful one of us in the entire show. Miss Ginger Ninja, who are you? What are you doing here? And who are you going to spit on today?
I haven't decided yet. I'm Miss Ginger Ninja. I'm going to be playing Flora again. I'm pretty pumped to play her. I think that she has a lot to offer. She's definitely plan B if they decide to attack us. But we got a bunch of little kids to use as bait first.
That's not what they're for.
That's horrifying.
Maybe you don't think so.
You're a monster person. You're a real-life monster person.
Just get in character, guys.
Oh, gross. I don't like any part of that. And last, but definitely least, Johnny, who are you? What are you doing here? And are we going to die?
I just noticed Miss Ginger Ninja's shirt. I'm a little uncomfortable now.
I wore it during our last show.
I don't remember that. I need an adult. Seriously.
You're not going to find one.
Greg, do you want to be his adult so he stops whining?
Greg's my adult.
He says no. I guess it's JP then.
I don't trust JP as my adult. There's just no.
He's the most trustworthy person here. If you can't trust him, you're out.
Do you see what he got you guys into last time? Are you kidding me? Really?
It was all JP for sure.
It was all JP.
And a scholar.
It was not all JP.
There totally was.
Followed Malcolm's lead. Who does that? Seriously.
Well, he doesn't know it yet.
I am Johnny, Video Store Cowboy. I am the GM for this crazy thing we called 6&Twenty Metropolis. Yeah, that's me. I'm looking forward to getting started tonight. So,
sweet.
Yeah.
So before we turn things over to Johnny for just that, I will remind you guys you can interact directly with the show by hitting that retweet, that follow, that subscriber, and by checking that donation section down below for all the fun things you guys can donate for. And with that, Johnny, take us away to Metropolis.
So after answering the call to, actually I should say previously on 6&Twenty Metropolis, yesterday I screwed up and said City of Mist, but hey, it was the game, right? You answering the call to help Flicker, coming from a couple of different ways. For Gephardt, it was a personal phone call. For Malcolm, it was being, looped into that by Gephardt. For JP and Flora, it was some sort of weird, sort of random text to Flora while JP and Flora were having a conversation about how weird Flora actually is and how uncomfortable she makes JP. You had all arrived at an old abandoned derelict home inside of the old quarter. Bit of exposition happened, bit of, hey, Gephardt, Flicker needs your help kind of a thing, and then there was a fight. And it was a fight with some weird guys that Flora had previously taken on and thought she had melted, but there was more of them now, so that's kind of strange. Anyways, Malcolm creates something out of his imagination, loophole, escape, however you want to think about it. Everybody seems to get away, and they get back to Gephardt's workshop, where he creates a. You described it as a simulacrum, right?
Simulacrum. Yep.
Simulacrum. Excuse me. Simulacrum of Flicker, allowing her to have essentially a body double made out of wood, thus allowing her to, kind of send this thing on its way while she does some work for Gephardt and tries to figure out what's going on with the Dire sisters who have disappeared, who are directly related to Gephardt's past in some way. Gephardt finishes. Everybody starts to go on their own way until Malcolm says, "Hey, I think we should go to," or maybe it was it JP that said, "Hey, I think we should go to Xanadu," and Malcolm's like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea." To which we now find ourselves in a gang fight because they went to Xanadu. They convinced Mr. Gallows to show them some video, and on that video, they saw some skulls. To which Malcolm and JP put 2 and 2 together and decided to go, and confront the skulls inside of the blue-collar neighborhood. Does that sound about right? Did I miss something there, guys?
You missed a very important part.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Xanadu. What is that important part?
Malcolm pantsed 2 adults, and it was hysterical.
Okay, yeah, I sincerely blocked that out of my mind. So whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, the crew now finds themselves as Flora was looped in, and so was Gephardt, in the blue-collar neighborhood, standing in front of a funeral home, facing what appears to be about 50 gang members of the Skulls and the leader, Samuel. To which Malcolm did the following. What did you do, Malcolm? Raising his sword above his head and calling on a gaggle of boys. What would you call those boys?
A gaggle of boys
Please
is
don't
what I would
ever
call
it
them.
that again.
It's called.
You think I'm creepy?
Guys, go tweet out of context tweets hashtag gaggle of boys, please.
Oh God.
Tag Johnny in it. At
Thanks.
VidStoreCowboy. Hashtag gaggle of boys.
Thanks. And so that's where we kind of fade in as Malcolm has crowed. Boys are popping out of the woodwork, and Samuel is kind of assessing the situation as the 4 of you are standing there, surrounded by his gang of men. Just out of curiosity, before we get started, Gephardt, where is your son?
Around.
Don't forget, Gephardt made himself.
That's not a... Say what?
Gephardt made himself a giant wooden shield.
Yes, he did make himself a giant wooden shield out of a door, if I remember correctly.
It's the funeral home store, yeah.
Yes. So there we kind of fade in to the crow happening, boys coming out of the woodworks, as Samuel kind of looks in and says, "Malcolm, haven't we done this before?"
A few times.
It feels like a lot longer than that.
I feel like there's been a bit of a misunderstanding. I really don't think we need to do this at all.
You knocked on my door. Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk.
That's my door that he's holding right there. Yes?
Look,
It's an improvement, I'd say.
I'll get to you, honey, in just a second.
I think we can both say that there have been some unnecessary escalations on both sides.
You knocked on my door. You put your foot in my door, preventing the young woman who works for me from feeling safe. I then get a call from some of my boys who are keeping an eye on the place that you are being a little rude and, inviting yourself into my business establishment. Is that correct? Is that about the assessment?
Then allow us to apologize.
Well, the first thing you can do, sir, is put back my door. That would be a great way of starting to apologize.
Gephardt puts the door down, pulls on the corners, and makes 4 feet, and the door runs back up and climbs into its frame.
Nifty. Now, thank you, sir, for replacing my door.
This was an inconvenience to you to bring all your men out at this time of night. It was an inconvenience to me. I believe that this is something that need not, as my friend would say, escalate. Why don't we simply ask one another questions? We will go on our way, and again, we apologize for any inconvenience, but I believe it will be mutually beneficial to everyone involved if we go no further. And he turns towards Malcolm, who he knows is not paying a goddamn bit of attention to him, and he says, "This is called parlay, Malcolm.
Party?
Remember? Parlay.
Okay.
Pirates like to do it. It's called talking and agreeing.
That's a
It's a
boring.
game. It's a game of words. Isn't it, sir?" He turns back to the gentleman who just jumped out of the car.
This is
I
not
wish-
this is not a good negotiation. We
No,
are
it
not
is not.
parlaying, sir. You are on my turf.
Well,
You-
it is the
You
pirates.
made it difficult for a young woman that works for me to feel safe. Do you really think that I am going to start negotiating with somebody who threatens my people and my place of business? I mean, seriously. And he looks over to his son, Manny. Can you... I expect this from Malcolm, but I don't understand. He kind of shakes his head. And Malcolm, you see Manny kind of eyeing you, kind of giving you sort of a confused, sort of an angry kind of a look. I mean, Malcolm, what are you doing here with this gentleman and this person and this young woman here?
Okay, so, what really happened is, they're right. We just came to ask you questions, and then the lady inside was a mean lady, and she's like, "You can't be here, you have to get out." And then we said, "No, we just have questions." She said, "No, you have to get out." And then she called you. But Mr. G's right, he just wants to ask you questions. If you want to fight, though, we can fight, and that'd be fun, too. But Mr. G just want to ask you questions. He just wants to ask you questions. There was a lady kidnapped. Do you know the lady that was kidnapped?
I don't care, Malcolm.
Oh. Do you know anyone that would know about the kidnapped lady?
Why are you on my territory again, Malcolm? We've talked about this. Remember the last time?
Yeah.
I don't think you do.
I think I won.
Really?
I mean, that's how
And
I remember it.
He motions for somebody, and stepping forward is a face that you kind of recognize. You're not quite sure. Now, I believe he called you Toodles, right? The guy kind of looks. Yeah, that was it. And then he kind of kicked me out. That's not very nice. That's not how you treat family, right? No. Do you remember Toodles, Malcolm? As we call him, his name is Tommy here.
No.
I prefer
Hi,
Toodles.
I'm Malcolm.
Tommy looks at you, just giving you a dirty look.
It's a fighting look.
I believe you brought him during one of your fights, Malcolm.
Okay.
And that's when he became mine.
Oh. That's not usually how that goes.
No, I'm sure it doesn't. Not in your head.
Yeah, usually Manny comes and he says a lot of things, and then we beat him up, and then he goes home. Right, Manny? No?
Manny just shakes his head.
Okay. But I did answer your question, though. You said, "Why are we here?" And I answered you, and then you asked why we're here again. I only had one answer.
To fight, it sounds like. Although your older gentleman friend here... What is your name, sir?
Mr. G.
Mr. G. And what is your name?
And that one's not a ninja, and that one's scary lady.
My name is Samuel. This is my turf. This is my place. What are you doing in front of my business, sir?
I am on a public street. However,
Not in this neighborhood. Nothing is public. It belongs to me.
Okay, we'll assume that you own the land beneath my feet. We have a simple question. Would you prefer to fight, Samuel, as Malcolm suggests? And think about that. You're agreeing with Malcolm. Or we ask one another a few questions.
There are no questions. You may leave now. And he turns. Get back into his car.
Let him go.
Are you sure?
We don't want this fight.
No.
You guys took me away from my work for this.
I was gonna try to convince. Honestly, I did not expect for this to. I thought it would go better.
It's
Bart
1:30.
starts as Manny kind of moves onto the other side. It's 1:30. Go ahead, Gephardt.
That was just a comment. I thought it would go better. It's 1:30 in the morning.
Okay. Well,
Your crows, your boys, they're itching for a fight.
I know.
Do they pick a fight?
No, they have to wait for Malcolm. Obviously, everyone knows you wait for your captain. Duh. Yeah, he kind of looks back and forth to everybody, and they're just kind of standing, and everyone's leaving, and Malcolm looks dejected and bored now. He says, well then, what are we gonna do?
We go to bed, Malcolm.
But then what about the missing lady? And they were bad guys, and Mr. Gallows, he said that they were bad guys, and sometimes they kick them out of the Xanadu, and that they might be responsible for taking that lady.
At this point, Gephardt finally figures out that Malcolm jumped to a massive fucking conclusion. And apparently everyone went along with it. And so Gephardt turns to Malcolm and says, well, just because they're bad, what makes you think they kidnapped the woman?
Because they were on the videotape.
Malcolm,
Kidnapped the woman?
No.
No, they got kicked out, and there were other guys.
As the cars are all kind of...
Uh-oh.
what?
Johnny's
As the
frozen.
cars
Go,
are
I'm
what?
sorry, go ahead.
You were frozen for a
You
second.
froze.
Okay, sorry. So as the cars are beginning to turn up, Samuel looks over at Gephardt and says, "Are you responsible for Malcolm now?"
No one is responsible for Malcolm. He is my friend.
No, clearly the girl always finds somebody who can keep an eye on him when she can't.
Huh?
Are you responsible for Malcolm now?
If you have a problem with Malcolm, Samuel, you may address me if you wish.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. I'll just let you know that the last person who took responsibility for him, he got him killed.
Huh?
You don't want that responsibility. And the vehicles begin to kind of slowly move away.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, so this wasn't a complete waste. I'm supposed to be at work. Did you or any of your men kidnap that woman?
He's driving away.
You're asking him as the vehicle's beginning to move?
I was going to ask before, but people were talking.
Okay. As he looks back at you and says, "I'm not answering your questions."
That's not a no, guys. It's not a no.
And he takes off.
I'm gonna be like, so like, does he just always drive around with all those people? That's gotta be hell in traffic.
Not always. Sometimes it's just him, and sometimes Manny has some friends, and sometimes they have people around here, and sometimes when he's at
Okay,
work,
now.
they... Oh?
Okay. Okay.
It is a
Mr.
big gas
G.
pump.
I'm going back to work now. Do you guys need me for any more of this bullshit?
I guess
I'm not
not.
asking you, Malcolm. Mr. G.
Oh.
She's mad at Malcolm. She's annoyed that she got led all the way here for nothing.
I'm afraid not, Flora. I was brought here under the same pretense of necessity.
Call me if you need me. And she looks at JP. Stay out of trouble.
Do you need like a lift home or?
I prefer to walk, remember? She's gonna walk back to work.
That's a long walk. Are you sure?
Yep.
Maybe we walked here.
Okay.
Oh no, we got a cab.
You
here.
did, but well,
No, we
Malcolm
walked.
didn't take a cab.
Oh yeah, we did run here. We all raced here. That's what it was. No one has a car because we're all adults.
Okay. And so Flora kind of takes off, leaving the three of you standing there, door back on its hinges, three of them still looking at you, kind of just keeping an eye on what you're planning to do.
I'm gonna just grab Malcolm by the shoulder and just go, "Come on, buddy, let's get out of here."
Where are we going?
Home? I was gonna go home.
Oh, I live here.
Here?
Is this where he lives? He lives in this neighbor. You live in the neighborhood. You don't
Yeah.
live at funeral home.
Yeah, I live in this part of town.
All right. Well, I guess. Let's just get out of here.
You wanna come to my house?
No, I'm gonna go to my house. I'm just trying to make sure you go to your house.
Oh. Okay. Okay. And he looks over your shoulder and just goes, and all the boys look equally dejected, and they put down like all of their sticks and rebar and other, chain gang type things, and they all begin to slink back into the shadows.
Yeah, JP. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go right ahead.
I was gonna say JP is just like, all right, Kemper. I thought, I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I'll see you later.
Have a good evening, JP. And at that, he turns to Malcolm and extends his hand.
Fine.
Takes the sword back and shrinks it down and puts it into his pocket. Good night, boys. And
Mr.
as he's
G.
as he's walking off, he whistles loudly behind him. The door springs off its hinges and runs up beside him. He jumps on it and rides off.
Are you actually doing that? Taking the door with you?
The fuck yes, I'm doing that.
Phone comes out as that happens.
I'm out of
On
here.
them.
As he's riding off in the silhouette of a street lamp, you just see
JP, how are you getting home?
I am going to crouch down and then jump onto the tallest building and just jump from building to building to get home.
Okay.
I can jump really far and really high, guys. Don't worry.
Okay.
Malcolm looks at the kid that pulled out his cell phone and he waves. Tell Manny I said hi again. And he starts to walk off.
So we're going to cut to Flora walking back through this neighborhood. You're obviously being trailed. Somebody is actually following you.
Okay. She's going to pretend to yawn and then
Okay.
walk into an alley with her back to
I'm sorry.
it and then wait.
When you yawn, do you spit into your hand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to make sure because whenever there's any oral action,
what?
anytime she puts her hand in
I
her
just
mouth,
want
I'm
you guys to
concerned here.
know. No, I just want this on the record that I played OC like a hoe bag, but this character has a lot of self-respect. She is not a lady of the night.
Well, technically, she is a lady of the night.
She's literally
Just a
She's a
different
woman of the
lady.
night. There's a difference. Something is implied. But yeah, she just, even if you cough into your hand, even if you can't see it, there's still spores that come out of your mouth. So she just, and then hops into an alley.
Person doesn't come up on you.
She's got all night. She'll wait there for a few minutes.
Nope.
All right, she's gonna go down that alley and go down the next street and then turn around and wait.
As you get down to the other end of the alley, you see the person that's watching you from across the street.
Okay, she's gonna walk towards them.
They're wearing a skull uniform, an outfit.
Can I help you?
They're just staring at you cold, not saying a word.
Do they walk away from you and I walk towards them?
Nope.
She's just gonna stand a foot away from them and just stare at them.
Expression never changes. They're just staring at you.
She opens her cell phone and calls Mr. G. In front of him, a foot away from him.
Right as Mr. G gets back to his workshop.
No, you forget. He's still in the neighborhood going like this.
That door's pretty fast, man.
Oh, I thought you were writing your son, which was... Oh, sorry.
All right, Johnny, you need to get it together, man. You gotta get it together.
Listen, man, you need to rewind this shit back. Start
These
it
better
over.
all be clipped. I want a compilation of these Johnny moments.
Hey, after the day I've had, I'm allowed to screw up like this. This is fun.
These aren't screw ups. This is amazing. We need all of it clipped.
All right.
Everybody say hi to Homeland Security.
Hey, you're the one who I won't say it.
Nope.
Anyways, so, Mr. G, your phone's ringing.
He takes out his like old school flip phone, flips it open as he's riding the door back to the. Hello, Mr. G.
It's Flora. I have a gentleman following me on the street and won't answer my questions. I'm assuming one of the owners of that monstrosity that you are riding home.
How do you know about that? You left before I called my door.
I can hear you clomping down the street. And she knows you.
At this point, Johnny, I think it would be a good idea to say, did my birds and insects that I sent into the funeral home find any evidence of the girl? Because I'm going to call him back now. That the whole door thing was just to not have that chick come out.
So when they all return to you, there's no. Okay, so let me take that back. What would they be looking for? How would they be looking for it? Describe it to me. And I may have you do an investigate roll depending upon how you describe this.
Sure. Okay. Remember when Flicker showed us the pictures of the Dare sisters?
Mhm.
What, committing that to memory, when Malcolm sent out his flock, he wanted them to find someone that looked like these images that he put into their mind. Very similar to whenever he sends them out to find Malcolm, or he sends them out to find somebody. They can identify the image that he gifts to them whenever he sends them out. And that's why he sent all of them in there to kind of flood the area, see if they could find anything. He sent the insects and the birds and the larger ones in there.
Right, but it's all based upon your memory of those particular pictures that Flicker showed you.
Yeah, that's all. He's never met the girls, so they were just.
Okay, so no, you do not get any response from them. There's nothing that they see, nobody inside that looks like those three women. And they crawled through the first story, the second story, and the basement, which is where they prepare the bodies. And there was nobody there that matched them, including the dead bodies.
Okay. Well, he lets them all kind of matriculate back into the pockets and the housings and the buttonholes and all the places they kind of slip into. And then he will turn around to the door, and the door kind of crunkles up like a dog as he's still on the phone with Flora, and he kind of puts the phone away for a second, and he pets the footwell of the door, and he says, I know, it's a terrible job, death all the time, but go back. But if the building ever catches fire, you know where to run. And the door starts to clatter back down the street towards the funeral home.
Did you just talk to that thing like it was like a favored pet?
Yes.
You treat your... I'm not going to say it.
Great, you're knocking him dead.
I'm not going to say it. Anyways, okay. And so it scampers back off.
He pulls the phone back up. If your people are worried about the door that I took off, tell them it's back.
I don't think they're looking for their door, Mr. G.
Okay.
Do I have your permission to murder this man if he keeps following me?
My permission? Oh, my dear. You don't need that.
I mean, I don't need it, but I figured it would be polite.
I
It's
appreciate
something
it.
that Malcolm started, and he's involved.
We're the good guys. Don't kill this guy.
Do you need aid or approval?
Neither. Guidance.
Let them live. If for Malcolm, he is in the same neighborhood after all, and if these are Samuel's men, it could prove troublesome for him.
Okay, he can live. She spits in his eye and walks down the street back to her work.
He continues to follow you. And as you're kind of looking back, you see
Even
that
with his eye. Okay.
he kind of wipes away at his eye. And just kind of wipes it on his pants.
Not affected? Okay.
At all.
She's turns around and keeps walking, but just kind of smiles.
So he's grossed out, but not as grossed out as he would be.
Actually, he doesn't have a reaction at all. Like when she sees this and she spits and she just kind of turns, she looks back at him as he's doing this. His face is passive.
Good to know that they're not affected the same way. Good night, Mr. G. And she'll hang up. She'll head back to work. He can watch her prepare bodies. It's a lot of fun to
He
watch.
continues to follow her all the way back to the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
And once you go inside, you don't see him again. But at that point, the sun is beginning to rise.
Okay.
We're going to cut to Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm is casually walking home without a care in the world. A little bored, a little dejected, but it quickly fades as he...
So where is home for Malcolm in the district?
So in the district, it is probably equidistant between the Gide funeral home and the docks. So Malcolm lives smack dab in the middle of two different gang territories in a abandoned warehouse. It is one of those large, not port-style cargo warehouses, but it is the complete warehouse with the crane that slides across, the lift boxes. It doesn't have the bay door for the docks. And it is large, it's rusted, some of the beams are bent in, and glass is broken. But as soon as you walk in, this looks like... you ever see the children's show Out of the Box? It's kind of like that. So it looks like an unassuming warehouse from the outside, but as soon as you walk in, it's like 20 young men built the most amazing fort ever. So there's like crates piled up, there's netting where people sleep in the netting that kind of run. It's if any adult walked in, they'd be like, "This is the most dangerous thing ever." There's literally nets hanging from the ceiling that they've stolen off cargo ships that people sleep in 20 feet off the ground. It's pretty dangerous, but it looks real cool and fun, and that's what matters.
So as you're kind of walking up to your building, standing in front of it with a couple of his boys is Manny, swinging a bat.
Do we come to fight?
Come to teach you a lesson, Malcolm.
What's the lesson? How to beat you up again?
Yeah, clearly you don't have the memory of what happened last time, Malcolm.
No, your dad said something about a toodaloo, or something. I don't know.
No, that wasn't the last time, Malcolm.
I don't listen when he talks a lot.
Yeah, I noticed, Malcolm. You don't really listen when anybody talks.
Yeah, you guys are kind of boring. Join
You
me!
didn't need to say that. You didn't say that about me before when I was one of your boys.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Then I got a little old. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, time to teach you a lesson, Malcolm.
Okay, what was the lesson?
The lesson is that you need to stop coming around my dad's funeral home.
Oh, but we just had a
You
question
stop
for
picking-
him.
You just need to stop picking fights, Malcolm.
Well, we didn't want to pick a fight. We had a question.
You brought your boys, Malcolm.
Well, that's only because your dad brought his boys. That wasn't fair.
Malcolm, you know my dad. He always brings his boys.
I know. That wasn't very fair.
Does he ever use them on you unless he's provoked, Malcolm?
I didn't either.
You called your boys, Malcolm. It's time for the lesson. And he takes the bat and he kind of swings it. Are we going to do this?
I guess so. Like just one-on-one or like all of them?
How about we just start one-on-one?
Okay, that's fine. Is he charging towards Malcolm with a baseball bat?
No, he's waiting for you to the attack. He's waiting Malcolm out.
And he's standing in front of the door to the warehouse, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna hit him with all I got. Yeah. So if it's just one-on-one, Malcolm is going to charge him. Man,
He's ready for you though. It's going to be toe-to-toe.
Actually, you know what? No, Malcolm's not going to charge him.
Uh-oh. Now I'm concerned.
Malcolm is going to try to change the game. So I'm going to change the game, Johnny, and I'm going to use everything is a game, and
Well, describe to me what you're going to do by changing the game.
so what I'm trying to do is imagine away his weapon.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to use everything's a game and imagine things to life.
Or in this case, out of life.
That was a bad joke. All right, hold on just a second. I want to look at Malcolm's character sheet.
Sure.
Wednesday crew, Malcolm. Constant troublemaker. No, that's
That's for the boys. I mean that could apply, but it is for the that tag is for just a couple friends.
Nightmares and flashbacks. All right, none of your weaknesses really apply here. Okay, go for it.
Ka-chow! I rolled a
Mild success.
9.
So you get two juice,
Okay.
and only the top 3. Right?
Right. No, I think it's all of them.
Nope. On a 10 plus, get a minimum of 2 juice and can do the scale up, prolong the effect, blah 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 kind of
Gotcha.
stuff. So I'm looking at the PDF for
Yeah.
moves. That is not as accurate as it needs to be.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create summon new object into being with a tag of my choice. All of a sudden, his weapon appears in my hand. So I have a story tag +1 baseball bat. And inflict a status tier. I'm going to inflict a status on Manny that is tier 1 confused.
How do you confuse him?
The bat just ran him. So I start running towards him, and the bat is in my hand. And as he goes to swing, he realizes the bat is not in his hand anymore, and kind of looks back and forth and sees that's where the confusion comes in. How the bat jumped from his hand to my hand.
Okay. So as you do that, are you continuing to run forward as you're changing the game here?
Yeah.
All right. You're running forward. He's now confused. He's like, what the hell? And he looks over, and immediately he ducks as he sees you begin to kind of swing and kicks out with his foot, kicking at you. So you're going to face danger.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to use uncanny parkour, and no one's around, right? Just Manny and his goons?
Just Manny and his goons.
Cool.
Manny and the boys.
Okay.
Sorry, men.
So I'm going to face danger. Let me see what happens here. I'm going to use uncanny parkour and flight.
Okay. Roll it. Nice. Okay.
So he runs towards him. This guy ducks under the baseball bat swing and goes to uppercut. And as his uppercut is happening, Malcolm just basically jumps off and just sort of like tumble-salts through the air and sort of lands and holds the bat up. Ta-da! And now he's like in between Manny and his goons.
Okay. At which point Manny kind of gets back up and throws the next punch.
Okay, so we're going to do go toe-to-toe because we're both attacking at the same time.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to use the +1 bat. Oh, man. I'm going to use +1 bat, uncanny parkour, shadow manipulation, and everything's a game.
Okay. Do it again.
Go toe-to-toe.
I love the idea that for Malcolm it is like the +1 bat.
Yeah,
It's like a
it's
video
a
game
+1 bat.
item.
Cool. So I get to choose two. I block, dodge, or counter their best attempt.
So
and-
you block his punch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I basically, so you know what happens? Okay, cool. So I get to choose two. So I get them good, inflicting tier equals power. So he goes to swing a punch at me, and I just hit him in the hand with the bat. So he takes a tier 4 broken hand.
Okay. And he just and at that point the boys attack.
Oh man, that's not fair. Okay. God damn it. How many of them are there, just so I know?
There's 3 of them behind you.
Okay.
As they all are beginning to reach out for you.
Okay.
This is easy for Malcolm.
Yeah.
Come on. You can totally do this. You've been rolling so good all night so far. Let's see how you handle this.
Okay. You know what? They're all coming towards me. I'm going to face danger, I think. I'm going to face danger, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use flight, uncanny parkour, and home is where you make it. And he's going to slide under one of these guys, or attempt to, and then into the warehouse, and try to get them to chase him inside.
Okay.
Fuck you.
This is just Home Alone. at this
So,
point.
so they all lunge towards him, and like almost 3 stooges, they collide as he like dips underneath one of them, and by the time they realize he's gone, he's already like wrenched open the sliding door of the warehouse and runs into the door and says, "Catch me if you can!" And then he runs inside.
I just want to be very clear about something, guys. When you roll tonight and it sucks, you can blame Malcolm because he took all the good rolls.
I mean,
All right.
so I mean, technically, oh no, it's not. Never mind, that's not true. Okay, cool.
So the 3 of them give chase after you as Manny is still just kind of on the ground. Ah, God damn it! He's grabbing for her phone.
Okay, and they run inside.
And they follow you inside, the 3 of them.
Okay, cool. Now we're in my home turf, which again is like a children's fun house. And there's like all kinds of things hanging around, and boxes and toys and stolen things and, swords and all other cool things. So yeah, I'm gonna fight these guys head on as they come towards me. Are we rolling as this group is a one entity, or are they?
Oh yeah,
for individual?
they're not individual dangers.
Okay,
They're
cool.
one entity here.
Cool. Then I am as no one's home, right? The boys haven't made
I
it
don't
back
know.
yet.
You tell me.
Man, I don't know. Let's roll like luck for it. You know what? No, let's roll change the game to see if they're home.
All right, if you'd like to do that, that's fine.
I'm gonna roll change the game to see if they're there. I'm gonna roll a gang of rejects. Home is where you make it, and I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll change the game to see if they're home.
As I said before, guys, when you roll tonight and you get shitty rolls, it's all Malcolm's fault.
Guys, that's
It's okay. All last episode was his fault anyway.
Guys, that's a high score. I think that's a.
So that is technically 5.
Yeah.
Because as we've been, or sorry, it's technically 4. As we've been playing it, the first one counts as 2 on a great success, and then the 2 additional power. So that's 4 juice at this point.
Okay, cool.
And you get to pick from the entire cacophony of things that are an entire pantheon of things that you can do. Right. So you've got story tag, power tag, or story tag, burn, create a reduced status, scale up effects, prolong effects, hide an effect, or negotiation with the MC for whatever.
Yeah, okay, so other improvement you and the MC agree on, the boys are home. That's one of my juice.
Okay.
Right? That makes sense?
Absolutely.
And then the rest of them, all remaining 3 juice, are going into inflict a tier 1 status. So they get a tier, what was that, 3? Tier 3 status as the boys descend like hungry jackals on top of these criminals.
Okay, so what is the actual status, though? What is it? What is you doing? What is it causing them? What's the descriptive for that?
Man, that's a good question.
Mobbed?
Yeah, I guess it's, tier 3 mobbed.
Tier 3 mob.
Yeah, as he runs in, the guys chase them back, and he swings the bat around, and he makes that call again. And then all the boys swing down like pirates boarding a ship. The crane starts sliding forward. One of them kicks him in the chest like 3 Ninjas style. It's awesome.
Wow, nice reference. 3 Ninjas. Great job there.
Quality movie.
Sorry, that's a little after my generation, but hey, you know what? I get it. It works.
Yeah, it's fine. Rocky loves Emily. Rocky loves.
I fucking love that movie.
It's
Putting that out
awesome.
there.
So yeah, the boys descend on these guys and just
What?
start pummeling them.
Tum Tum is my spirit animal.
And so as you're the boys are pummeling on them, you're kind of standing around and you're kind of doing your victory pose as you're watching your boys kind of take them out. You can see Manny still on the ground, kind of on the phone, just come get me. I need to go. He broke my hand and he took the boys out. And you can see that Manny's definitely not coming inside.
Cool. So if the boys seem to have these hooligans handled, Malcolm walks over to Manny, and because it's good form, he reaches down to Manny, who's like you said, he's kind of buckled over. He reaches over to Manny and he hands him back his bat, and he says, "Now remember, I won this time." And he drops, tung, 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 and he drops the bat next to him on the ground.
All right. All right, Malcolm, whatever.
Hey, but seriously though,
To climb up.
did your dad kidnap that lady? We really did only come for a question.
He pushes you back. Go away, Malcolm. I'm not answering any of your questions.
I could just beat up your guys until they answer me.
They don't know anything.
I could beat up you until you answer me, but I don't want to do that. That's not nice.
Are you trying to convince him?
Yeah, sure. I will convince him. This is not Malcolm's strong suit. Shenaniganery and fighting are Malcolm's strong suit.
Is there really a power tag that actually applies to Malcolm being in a social situation?
Yes. So I'm going to use Insatiable Curiosity. I'm going to use Gang of Rejects because my Gang of Rejects is currently kicking his Gang of Rejects' ass. And I'm going to use Every Scam in the Book. I don't think that one really applies. You know what? Maybe Criminal Underbelly.
How does criminal underbelly apply?
Because when word gets out that he gets his ass kicked again, it looks real bad. I won't tell anybody if you just tell me. You can say that you one of those guys closed your hand in the door of your car, and then that's why you beat them all up because they're all dumb.
Okay, go ahead and roll it, but take constant troublemaker
Okay,
as a weakness here.
cool. And convince.
I'm sorry, John.
Again, guys. Again, when you have a problem, you can blame Malcolm.
Do I win? What does that mean? Did I break the game? What's high score mean?
No, Malcolm, we didn't. No, that's not true. Look, you can't tell my dad if I tell you anything.
I promise. Okay? It'll be our secret.
It's not a secret. It's that I'll get my ass kicked.
No, it'll be our secret. I won't tell anybody.
Yeah, Malcolm, I don't believe you. You tell secrets all the time. Remember, I used to be one of your boys.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell Mr. G and Scary Lady and the Not a Ninja, but that's because they're looking for the lady.
No, I'm not.
But I won't tell your dad.
My dad's going to find out anyways if I tell. I'm not...
Oh. What do
you want to know?
Who took the lady? Dare Ray. She worked outside Xanadu.
Nobody took her.
Huh?
She asked us to help her get out.
Well, why? Where did you put her?
I can't tell you that. That will really get me killed.
Okay. Well, okay, then what about her sisters?
I don't know anything about them.
Oh.
You weren't talking about Phoebe, right? We helped Phoebe get out of where she was.
Was that the one at Xanadu?
No.
Oh.
No, we were at a party in Olympus.
Oh. Okay. So you don't know anything about the girl at Xanadu?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh. Okay. Thanks. And he pats him on the hand. Okay, your friends can leave. Have a good day, Manny. Thanks for playing. And he sort of just...
Whatever, Malcolm.
Bye! And he walks back in and he says, let him go! Come on! And the guys sort of like push them out of the door.
And so as the three are being pushed out of the door, and you see Malcolm Manny starting to walk up the street like he's waiting for a ride or something, one of the boys looks out and says, "Hey, was that Manny? Man, I haven't seen him in a while. Is he okay?"
That was Manny. He's got a broken hand, I think. We were wrestling, and he said, "I'm gonna fight you," and I said, "I'm gonna fight you back," and then I hit him in the hand, and it was awesome. And then we beat up his friends. Great job! And he starts high-fiving everybody.
And you get to this guy, and he's like, and he's reluctant to high five. Man, I remember when we broke into that place to get some food. I miss Manny.
He's right there. He tries to steal people all the time.
And we're gonna cut to Gephardt arriving where? Home?
Oh yeah.
Flicker is still there. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say he goes in and turns on a little Sirius XM, 80s on 8. Takes his jacket off. Gets ready. Maybe makes himself another cup of sleepy time tea.
And so in wanders Flicker, and she's on her phone. Where the hell did you go?
It doesn't matter.
It kind of does. Is everything okay?
I believe so.
Well, I'm still trying to get some more information about getting into the corporate office for Pandora's Delights. Are you still in tomorrow?
Sure. Yes. Of course.
Okay.
Out of curiosity.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard anything of a man named Samuel who runs a gang that works out of the Dock District?
Son of a... He took you there, didn't he? He took you to go visit the skulls.
Who took me where?
Don't play games with me, Gephardt. I know it was Malcolm.
Well, there was 3 of them there. I didn't know if you were talking about Malcolm or JP. I was not playing games. I am not a fan.
Gephardt, we had this conversation before. You don't want to follow the Malcolms. stories. You don't want to go along with his adventures. You need to take care of him.
My dear, do I look like someone that is prone to adventure taking?
Do I need to point out? And she points to your son.
Well, that is an awfully big adventure.
All right. Well, I'll have information and be ready for tomorrow night. If there's nothing else?
Well, no. Before it was interjected that I was following the whims of a lad, the man that you seem to know, this Samuel, would he have any connection to the Dere sisters?
Not that I'm aware of. Hold on. And she starts to type on her phone. No, I don't think so. Why do you ask?
Malcolm believed that they did. What are they known for?
They kind of run the blue collar district. They're all they're kind of the low to medium level crime in the blue collar district. They run it. They run the drugs. They run the racketeering. They run protection. I mean, the skulls they're not big time, but Samuel would like him to be. And Samuel tends to collect young boys, not unlike Malcolm, and that, I think, frustrates him on some level.
Would Samuel have any association with the Walker Foundation?
Oh, no. Wait, what? What makes you say that?
Phoebe is supposed to take over the head of the foundation. If there is perhaps a ground foot level association.
Every attempt the Walker Foundation made to getting into the blue collar district was kind of thwarted by Samuel and his boys. The Skulls are kind of notorious for wanting to be the only source of relief in that neighborhood for anybody who's down out. That being said, I don't think... No, they don't have any association as far as I'm telling. I mean, as far as I know.
Would you do me a favor, Flicker?
I kind of owe you, so yes.
I thought I would be polite and ask. Flora works at the coroner's office. She said that there was somebody following her. Is there a way that you could tap into local surveillance and make sure that she is okay?
Hold on a second. She grabs her laptop, pulls it up, and is kind of... Where did you say she works?
The morgue. That's right, right? She works at the morgue, right?
And it's the downtown morgue, right?
If there's a murder, you would know that she's at a crime scene as a coroner, but she volunteers the really late hours to work at the morgue.
Downtown.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
She said she was going to the morgue whenever she left and said goodnight. So that's what Gapart's going after. Going from.
Right. And so she kind of types on her laptop. Yeah, she's just entering the building now. Is this the guy you're talking about? And she points on her laptop. You can see that there's a superimpose, or there's like a traffic camera window that's kind of pointing in that general direction. Let me see if I can get a better angle on this guy, because I think she just walked into there and he's kind of loitering. And she types a little bit more. She's like, okay, here, I got a building camera. And you get a frontal picture of this guy, and it's clearly a young man, very like dead face. Like he looks like he's got no expression whatsoever. And he's kind of just kind of looking, wearing a skull jacket, of course, with the patch. And he's just kind of standing there, and he's kind of looking at it. The expression never changes. Then he begins to walk off.
If he reappears, just wake me or call Flora.
Do you want me to track where he goes?
Sure. If it's somewhere other than Samuel, that would be interesting.
Right, and you hear a bunch of, let me click clack on my keyboard as you hear her doing that. Mike. And she's like, all right, I'm going to track him. Let me get... I won't wake you unless it's important, but... Good night, Gephardt.
Good night.
And we cut to JP. Walking back home.
What time is it?
Probably about 3 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah, so JP like looks at his like alarm clock, which is like already like set as usual for like 3 hours from now or something absurd. It just
Poor
like
guy.
sighs and goes to bed.
All right, and so that's basically everybody kind of ending their day, their night, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Wow, guys, you were the first crew to get all the way through to the next day. So this is
Really?
perfect time. Yes. Nobody has gone
Is
to
it over?
sleep.
Did we win?
You heard it here first. Wednesday crew, best crew. So that's what Johnny said.
I thought we were going like really slow timeline wise, but it turns out.
No, that all happened in the first night so far, right? This is the first morning after the first night.
Yeah,
Um,
like I expected everyone else to have gone like multiple days.
Nope, nope. Everybody's still kind of in the night. So with that, we come to the normal sort of montage routine kind of a thing, right? This is a perfect opportunity. If you've got a day job, you got a day job. If you want to do some investigation, research, whatever, you're going to do all of that. So why don't we go around the table and figure out if there's a montage that you guys want to do and how it relates to whether it's your mythos, your logos. You're going to do an investigation. You're going to prepare for something during the night, etc., etc.
I can start because I know what I'm going to do.
No,
Okay. No.
Get wrecked.
no, please do, please. As I wipe some of that spittle from my eye.
No comment. So,
That's what happened when you collect boys.
little ones.
Wow.
So she would spend the rest of her night working at the morgue, and then, early morning, she would probably go and see if she could check out some of the case logs from Mr. Gephardt's case. She's going to start digging into it, call in any favors she has where, maybe she caught a good break on a case and one of the, people working on it were really happy because she's very thorough when she was working as a coroner. Just call in any favors to just not sound any alarms, but just kind of look into, the bodies, any evidence they had, any, what they built the case upon, just kind of like based on like see if she sees anything weird or out of the ordinary.
All right. Given the context of what you're attempting to do, I'm gonna ask a very pointed question here. Is this a preparing for your next activity, or is this working the case? And the question that I'm trying to get to is: are you trying to tie this to the current case that you're working on?
Nope, she's doing this in her spare time because she knows it's something that will help him, and she said that she wants to help clear his name, and she meant it. Because she now knows, based on her bullshit detector, that he was not lying when he said that he didn't kill his family when they had their first conversation together. So this is like, when I'm with the guys, I'm trying to find this girl because she also wants to help her. But when, she spends most of her time working, she barely sleeps, doesn't really have social interact. You know what I mean? She
Right.
needs work. So if she were like, hey, I'm going to take a few hours off, they would be like, go ahead. Because she works all the time. So she would take any little downtime she has to try to start, I guess, an investigation into his case. And, she saw the media, like how they portrayed it. She saw, all of the secondhand news, I guess. She wants to, like, get in there and see the actual files and things that only, her unlimited access can show her.
Okay.
For
So
starting a long-term project in that regard. I know that's not a thing here, but that's
well, yeah, but it is something that we actually talked about, as a mechanism, and as a mechanism to kind of measure those kinds of things. So the reason I asked, and I kind of figured that's what you were going for. The reason I asked whether it was a work the case or prepare for your next activities, because there's two different things that happen as a result of those, and based on your description, both apply. Right. So if you work the case and you're starting on Gephardt's case, it will present you with 3 clues, and that would work like a normal investigation, and you would get 3 answers to 3 questions. Right.
okay.
If you prepare for the next activity, instead you would get 3 juice, and you would be able to spend those as if you were executing a change the game effect, or an improvement. Like you would be able to create a story tag with that, or you'd be able to inflict status, or you'd be able to prolong effect, or we'd
Which I
have
don't
a
think I
discussion
want to
about.
do, right? I want answers.
Well, you do want answers, but it could cultivate, like, instead of you getting 3 definitive answers, you could cultivate a relationship with, say, like the
person who hold the evidence tag person.
right. Well, so the consulting detective that's on the case, right?
Yeah.
Or you could do this, or you could do that, right? It would be any number of opportunities. It really is about how you want to start the approach on this.
So if I did that second option to be able to start a story with it, I could do it during all of my downtime, my montages.
Yeah, you can treat it as your approach to montage. I mean, you can do both, right? You could change the game, or you could prepare for your next activity, or you could investigate. It's just about how do you want to do it. Here, you like your description that you started with, right? You want to work the case, you want to dig in. That's a perfect example of you digging in and then getting, 3 clues. You would get some answers. But if you did the same approach, but you changed the game, you could begin to cultivate a relationship with the particular detective that worked that case, and that would be, and maybe you would get a status with them, so that the next time you started, you could go to them with a work the case, get your answers, but you might get more from it, or you might build a rapport, or have a bigger insight into, because you built a relationship with that particular detective. So that's why I'm giving you kind of, you can go either way with this particular thing, right? You can go either way with this option.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you want to take a second and think about it, I realize I just kind of like dumped a whole bunch of like...
I'm just trying to decide. I think you're right. I think I want to cultivate a relationship with this person who's working the case, who could get me in to see the evidence, who could get me to these other places, so I don't have to ask multiple people and kind of like have people catch on that I'm trying to...
Right. Okay. All right. So, that means then that because you're preparing an activity, or you're preparing for your next activity, you get 3 juice to spend, and if you look at the change the game move, all of those options are on the table for you. Because there's not a roll, so you get all of those options. You're not gated by the fact that you didn't get a 10 to get all of those. So you can create a story tag, you can burn a power tag or a story tag, you can give a reduced status. You can scale up the effect, prolong the effect, hide the effect, or we can agree on something. And if your first step is to create a story tag or create a relationship with the detective that was on the case, then consulting the files, you would get that detective's name. Okay.
Do you want me to make one up?
No, I've got a perfect detective.
Okay.
Why? Do you have something tongue in cheek, or very cheeky?
No.
Lies.
No, it's fine.
What is it?
I'll tell you later because it's fine.
No, what is it?
No.
Come on.
I'm not doing it. It's not happening. You could give me a name.
So the detective who worked the case was named Derek Roth.
Okay.
And so that's going to be your first juice, is the story tag, introduction to Derek Roth.
I want to prolong the effect.
Okay, so
I'm gonna take him for drinks and make it into like a social thing. That's the story base of how I would prolong it. Is every time he's having a rough day or whatever, like when we start to build a rapport, it's me taking him out for drinks or something, and shooting the shit. because he knows
Okay.
that I also work similar job.
Okay, so you start that, right? So we're gonna come up with a status tag, and we're gonna prolong the effect, and we're gonna start with the status tag of tier 1. What do we want to call that? Rapport? Do we want to call that camaraderie?
Tier 1 courting.
She is not Roz. Roz is the one who is the serial dater.
Yeah, no.
Serial something.
She's already going to have enough problems with Derek as it is.
I know, that guy's a doozy.
I would say prolonged effect work friend. I'm ignoring you.
Oh, man. Yeah, I kind of... Okay. Anyways, so is it tier 1 doozy?
Oh no!
Sorry, work friend. Okay.
And then can I scale up the effect for next time?
You sure can. So actually, wait a minute. So you're creating the invitation with 1 juice. You're creating the status of 1 with him, and then you're prolonging the effect, or are you increasing the effect?
Both.
Because if you prolong the effect, it'll be a permanent thing. Like it'll be a long-term thing.
Yeah, so I want a prolonged effect. I'm
Okay.
befriending him, which is the story tag. And then the
Okay.
scaled up effect, which is
Okay.
he can bring any cases to me that someone else was assigned to. Obviously, I don't handle every case in the city. But if they're stumped or he wants to like run something by me, I'm pretty fucking good at my job. So I'll just like free advice, which helps him with cases. So like that's the story behind.
Okay, great. So you've built this. You've started to you catch him at the end of his day as well, as you know, or you're getting towards sunrise, and he is just coming off of working a long night on the case of the disappearance of Phoebe Dare at Olympus, and so he's coming in at the same time. You start up a conversation, and you end up buying him a drink.
Is it morning?
It's almost morning, yes,
Okay.
but there are 24-hour bars in the city, as it was established last night. Apparently, you can go to the R&R Diner downtown and get a mug of beer, regardless of time.
I meant. Is the sun out?
Not yet.
Okay.
The sun is getting close to rising. But
Okay.
again, we're calling this montage, so it's
Yeah, she would
it's
grab
for-
coffee with them or something. You know, something
Okay.
normal.
Okay. All right. So great. That's your montage. That starts into that's your first thing. So you've got this rapport with this detective Derek Roth.
Okay.
All right. Who would like to go next?
You know what? I'll go next.
I'm afraid of what Malcolm's going to do with his downtime.
Cool. Well, the first question I have to ask you is do we
No.
figure out how we're doing attention yet?
So yes, we do have a question, or we do have a decision about attention. If you want to focus on it, I will explain it afterwards. But if you want to focus on something, great.
Okay.
I will explain that afterwards.
Okay, I asked because I'm about to hit 3 if I do this.
Yeah,
I
I'm in the
haven't been
same
tracking mine
I have been tracking yours.
because I've been working a lot.
So you didn't invoke your weakness tags for the attention, though.
I didn't know I had to point that out. Okay.
No. I'm talking to Malcolm.
You did.
I did, but you have to invoke it in order for attention to count.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I have no idea how many I have then. Actually.
Yeah, I thought it was any time they are invoked.
When I'm
Okay.
done.
No, if they are not anytime they're invoked. Attention comes when you invoke a tag, you invoke a weakness tag yourself. Fade comes when you make a hard choice and you choose to go against your mythos or logos.
Okay, cool. Then I will be at 1, I think. Anyway, I'm going to what's it called? I'm going to give attention, right? Is that no explore? Yeah, give attention. Yeah. So Malcolm in the warehouse. Malcolm last night was bombarded with things that he was confused by and wasn't sure about, and people were questioning him and what he thought was reality, and he's very uncomfortable with that. And so in the morning he wakes up after having more and more of his nightmares, and he stands he stands in front of his throne of boxes, on top of it with his hands on his hips, and he says, "Gideon, to me!" And one of the boys stands up and kind of walks over to him. And he says, "Okay, remember the thing that we did when I have bad dreams, and sometimes they're bad dreams, and then like the monsters come out, and sometimes there's bad guys and the bad guys get killed, and then sometimes there's good guys and then the good guys get killed, and sometimes I get killed." And he rattles on and on and on like Malcolm does. And he says, "Okay, I need you to help me fight all the bad guy dreams, okay?" So I'm going to explore my mythos. Oh, not explore my mythos. Sorry, give attention to my logo's bad form. And Gideon is going to help me overcome my nightmares.
Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, so when Gideon does that mean that you go back to sleep?
Yeah.
And you deal with it together?
Because I mean, by the time that he fought Manny and his goons, like you said, it was like 3 a.m., right? So, and the nightmares keep him up most of the night. So when he kind of wakes up when everyone else is moving around, that's when he calls on Gideon. So he goes back to, like, he pulls aside a blanket and goes back to his special area inside the place, and kind of lays down and asks for Gideon's assistance with helping him fight the nightmares.
And so describe us what that's like. Like, describe to what Gideon does. Like, does he just sit there with you? Does he also slumber?
What?
I mean, like, really kind of set the stage for us.
So what it looks like is Malcolm has like a pile of blankets and like random assortment of pillows and things that he's made into pillows, and that's kind of like a sultan. That's what he sleeps on. And he sleeps down there, and it would look like anyone who like walks in would see Malcolm tucked in, curled up like a kid, and Gideon has his hand on his head, with his eyes closed. What Malcolm sees in his sleep is literally Gideon is in his dreams helping him fight the nightmares. So let's go with whatever nightmare this is right now. It's Gideon and Malcolm are back to back on a ship tossing about in the sea, and lightning cracks overhead and thunder roils across the sky, and the rain is pelting down, and there is a man who's always just out of focus, and you never quite see his face, but you can hear him shouting off to his crew, "Batten down the hatches, tighten the mainsail," all those kind of things. You see like the helmsman reel on the helm, and then you see massive like octopus tentacles sort of grab the side of the boat, and all of the men sort of draw swords, and Gideon and Malcolm draw swords, and they're fighting, and they're trying to get towards this guy who seems to be the captain, but they are never able to get to him because they're fighting whatever this giant octopus or kraken or whatever sea monster they're fighting. And without the help of Gideon, Malcolm often dies, or everyone dies, or the ship cracks in half and sinks. But with Gideon, he can often defeat it, but he never gets to see who the captain is.
Okay. And so as this dream goes on, and you defeat this creature, and you save, what happens after? How does that does Malcolm finally go to a deep slumber and just get relaxed sleep for the first time?
Yeah, so basically once they're like it probably takes like however long it takes you to normally hit that REM sleep, right, where you're in that dream zone. That's how long it takes him to fight. And the harder the fight is, the stronger the nightmares are, the longer it takes him to hit that. And so exactly that. Once they defeat him, and he is he's buffeted against the wind, he's struggling against the tentacles of the Kraken, to get to the captain. When he never does, that's when he eventually falls asleep.
Okay.
And every time he gets there, the captain the reason he never gets to the captain is because right before he does, the captain sacrifices himself, and the Kraken takes him and leaves the men and the boat to safely make it ashore.
Okay. And so Malcolm gives attention to his logos and falls asleep.
Cool.
And gets good sleep.
Sweet deal. And then he slumbers until some impossible hour of the day that you should not be asleep. Like 3:30 in the afternoon is when he finally...
That sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay. All right. All right, so that's Malcolm. Next.
Yep.
Sam, you can go. I can go. Whatever you want to do, bud.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah,
Neither of you seem sure, so do you want me to roll like a D2?
I can go.
Yeah, go right ahead, bud. I don't want to jump.
All right.
Go ahead.
I was also going to explore my myth house. Now I'm unsure of how much attention I have for each thing, so I'm just gonna.
Don't worry about it right now. I'll tell you guys afterwards.
So I was going to try to get a clue on my mystery of how can I be sure I'm not the clone. And the way I was hoping to do that is go talk to Flicker, because she clearly has some ability to look through surveillance cameras, because she saw me doing the clone trick the first time.
Does that mean that you go back to Gephardt's workshop to find her?
Well, yeah, because I know she's staying there. So I'd probably go like somewhat in the more like evening time. But like after work or whatever.
What time do you get off work? What time does JP
Actually,
get time?
no, you know what? Because JP probably works mostly afternoons and evenings when kids are off school and adults are finishing up work. So he probably has a lot of free time during the day, which he normally spends trading. So he'll probably go like just in the morning after he wakes up. So
Okay.
He'll bring her a coffee.
All right, and so just to kind of check in with Gephardt on this, did you give them free reign to access the workshop at this point? I mean, you literally just met these people, two of these people last night.
He didn't tell them they couldn't come. Now
Okay.
make sure he doesn't show up right around 3:30. That's when he eats dinner. So he has to.
So actually,
How old is fucking Gephardt? I thought he was in his 40s. I mean, he's a family man, right?
In his early 50s.
So now that I think about it, though, like I think JP is a little bit too like polite and anxious to just show up unannounced. So he would probably text the number that texted him and Flora.
Okay, and
and ask if she wants to meet.
no.
Netflix and chill.
There's a reason why that makes me cringe, and it will become apparent eventually.
Flicker and flicker.
Wow. I'm so uncomfortable right now. Anyways, she texted you back. No, I'm working on something for tonight. Why don't you come to to Gephardt's workshop?
Just text back a thumbs up. Gets coffee from the local City of Mist shop.
That would be Fogg's Brews. It's the local Starbucks equivalent in the city.
Perfect. Goes and gets coffee there, and then heads to the workshop.
Okay. And so when you arrive, you can see that she's furiously typing on her laptop and also texting, and she's going back, and she kind of blurs a little bit. And then when you come in, she's like, "Oh, hey, have a seat. Give me a minute." And she types in some word. "Hey, Mr. G, he went back to the blue collar district neighborhood, and he went into a building and he hasn't left since. So that's what my tracking software said. Good." And before he can even answer, she's back onto something else.
So Malcolm's just like,
JP.
You seem... Yeah, that's right. Everyone calls themselves Malcolm for some reason.
That's because everybody is Malcolm.
JP is like, you seem kind of busy, but I was hoping I had a favor I was hoping you could do for me. You can access the cameras, right? That's how you found me in Flora?
Yeah. And I got cameras, and she's typing. What do you need?
I'm just wondering if you've outside of that one time, ever seen other versions of me, maybe walking around. If you could look, there's maybe another me This one would probably wear clothes. I guess that was an accident. That doesn't usually happen.
Why would there be another version of you out there?
Well, you saw what I could do, right?
I saw what you can control, but I would assume that only you could do that. Have you ever tried to have one of your naked clones make another one of themselves?
It's kind of hard to normally when I make a lot of them, it sometimes feels like the other ones are making more of themselves. But I haven't been doing this for that long, and I don't know. You never know. Maybe there's another one that's like better at this.
Do you feel inferior in some way?
That was not how I meant it, but look, I don't know. Look, okay, here's the thing. I can make more of me, and they can do stuff, and they seem to be like pretty aware. I tell them to do stuff, they normally do it. Sometimes they even argue with me a little bit. They're like, no, I don't really want to do that. But then how do I know that's just not me who's one of them for another guy? I feel like I'm starting to sound like Malcolm here, and
believe me, you may be a little confused about your situation, but nobody sounds like Malcolm. So, okay, let me see if I understand this. You're afraid that there's another version of you out there, and you want to explore that by having me look with my ability to look at these different cameras to find someone that looks like you?
Well, either the cameras or, I mean, it seems like you know people. You have like contacts and stuff, and like, I mean, most of the people like you and like me that can like do this kind of weird stuff, they tend to like hang out in similar places. I'm kind of new though. I don't know a lot of people, but maybe the other one, if there is another one, has been doing it for longer, and that's why I'm new at this.
Okay, I'm now even more confused. So, let's start one thing at a time, okay? I will help you as best as I can because Malcolm likes you and you have some interest in this. It just seems weird, I'll be completely honest.
Don't forget, you got me involved in all of this, so I feel like it's not that big of a favor.
And she types up, "Excuse me, you followed that woman Flora down that alley. The cameras clearly state this. Until that point, I've never had contact with you prior to this. So how did I get you involved in all of this, JP?"
You told us to come to the place.
Yes, I told you to come into the place because you were in that alley. You got yourself involved in that, right? You were with Flora. There was clearly something going on.
Look,
sure,
I think we
that's
can
how we met.
I think we can agree that there's some responsibility on both sides, but we can move past it. I'm helping you over here.
I'm just trying to help you do what you want. Like you were asking me questions. I'm just trying to be very clear. What are you asking me to do?
I'm just hoping that you can spend a little time and maybe, I don't know, ask around, look around, see if anyone like me is walking around somewhere.
All right. Now, you know that Mr. Gephardt, Mr. G, as Malcolm likes to call him, he's currently got something going for me, right? You know that he's having to send one of his toys so I can get some work done because I'm being tracked. So I can't go out in public right now, but I can start from here. And she points to her laptop. I can take a look here. Can I start here? And then if I find something great, if not, then once this situation clears up, I'll start to ask around. Would that be okay?
Perfect. I mean, look, if you find a name or something, I'm a very smooth talker. I'm usually good at sleuthing out information. I can help I can help on the outside. You take care of it on the inside.
Okay. So I'm going to do what I just did for Mr. Gephardt. I'm going to write a tracking piece of software. I'm going to take a couple pictures of you from a couple different angles. And if somebody else out there looks like you kind of passes one of those cameras, I'll let you know.
That's pretty
and then the next, and then as soon as this all gets cleared up and I can go out and ask around, I will do what I can.
Wow. Thank you, Flicker. This is great. This is perfect.
Okay. All right. So can you come into this light? And she kind of brings you over. Just stand right there. Okay. You ready?
Yeah. As he's standing there, he goes, "Oh, by the way, when he introduced himself, he said Gephardt. I thought that was his first name. Is that his last name?"
No, his name is Gephardt. I call him Mr. Gephardt sometimes because I feel uncomfortable. Malcolm calls him Mr. G because that's who Malcolm thinks he is. It's you call him as you address him as you think, and she starts to take pictures. And she, basically takes three, she kind of walks around and takes 6 pictures of you, one from, your front left, from the front right, back left, back right, kind of a thing, right? Getting all angles of your face. And she's like, you address him as you want. Now, I need to get started here. I've got something I need to get done for Gephardt, Mr. Gephardt. But here, I'll get started, okay? And the moment that I know anything at all, I'll make sure to call you. Okay.
Awesome. I brought you this coffee, by the way. I gotta go to work. I'll see you later.
Thank you. And you see her just she drinks it quickly. Ooh, I feel better now. Thank you. That's amazing. And she kind of throws it, and within 10 seconds, it's completely gone, kind of a thing. So she's like, great. And she starts to go back, and you can see her furiously typing on her computer.
Awesome. I'll head to work from there.
Okay. And so that's one attention to your mythos.
Yeah, and then at some point I'm supposed to get a clue with a method and you gain one clue with a method and source based on your description, but I'm guessing we can just get that later once Flicker finds something. Or
right. So that's gonna go through the process. I can give it to you right now if you'd like it.
No, we can hold off.
Let's hold off until you can take advantage of that. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Cool. And that leaves Gephardt.
Okay, so maybe even right after JP leaves, after delivering the coffee, the information, the headshots, and leaving, Gephardt will come out of the far end of his workshop, the end of Careless Whisper just wrapping up as he walks out, and he has with him a little sparrow, one of his wooden sparrows, and he kind of nods to Flicker, and he walks outside, wraps a message to the sparrow's foot and whispers into its ear, and it starts to look around, and then it flutters off. And the camera, since this is a game of cinema with shots and geeking out during the credits and all that good stuff, the camera follows the bird as it flies through the city, kind of diving and dipping and swaying in the breeze.
Is the music that plays along with it Jonathan Livingston Seagull?
No. It is not. It is Christopher Cross sailing.
Of course. Sorry. I apologize. Wrong generation there with that music. But go ahead anyways.
So as it's flying around, just as you're just about ready to be taken away by the music and the beautiful bird, it flies down and circles into the maximum security prison that is, from my understanding, located just outside the borders of the city.
Okay.
And as it circles around in the yard, there are dozens of orange jumpsuited inmates there. And as it circles down, one of the inmates puts a finger out, and the sparrow lands on Gephardt Caparelli's finger. As he looks, his clearly evident prisoner number as an identical Gephardt Caparelli, looks at the bird, whispers into its ear, takes the message off of it, and reads it. And he puts the bird on his shoulder for a second as a couple of the other prisoners look at him oddly, but that's to be expected from, the family killer Caparelli, and he reads it, and the message written in his own hand says, ask about the Dere sisters and ask about Samuel of the Stalls. Listen. And so I'd like to invoke a flashback. And what this flashback is going to do is it is going to describe one of the events from my character's backstory in the hopes of receiving information or juice, because I am at an impasse in my personal investigation until Flora can proceed, or I find Phoebe Dere. So he is contacting himself, who's currently still in prison. So that would be another clue that Flora would probably get, that Gephardt Caparelli is currently incarcerated and serving a life sentence in the maximum security wing of the prison. And while Gephardt is in prison, he is going to put his ear to the ground and listen for anything that might resemble the Dere sisters, kidnappings, anything that might pop up on the radar, because it seems that on the inside, information and rumors flow much faster than it does on the outside.
So, invoking the flashback specifically goes to an event to get that one description or clue, or get that one juice or clue. And how do you want to, if you're going to take it from a juice perspective, how do you want to spend that then? Or how are you planning to spend that in the present?
In the present?
Because that's an incredibly, complicated way to get back to, you've got an element, you've got a moment in the past to which to get information, or to get a clue, or to get, juice. So what is it you're ultimately intending to get out of that with that juice?
Okay, well,
because you're asking very generalized questions, and I'm looking for a specific here.
Gotcha. But it can be the master of ceremonies can award either one juice or one clue, and
I'm giving you the option to take either, and you would spend that, but I can because it's still not clear. I mean, you can ask a general question about getting information about the Dere sisters or the rumors, but clearly you're not going to have too much context on that until the current events are actually happening, right? So I'm just trying to figure out how that fits into your narrative now of information you get back then, right? Whether it's juice or a clue.
All right, you're looking for a timeline here. This is what I would do. In contacting myself in prison, Gephardt is setting the seed for how about this would work for a clue. Whenever we progress to a certain point, the sparrow just lands, reinforces that, or provides an extra step or an extra clue. Or, if we find out, hey, Phoebe might be here, or even like Megan might have gone in this direction, the sparrow lands and says yes, and this person might have been involved, or she was actually last seen by the jet, whoever.
So if I might jump in here, it might make more sense, rather than doing a flashback, Greg, it might make more sense to work the case and send the bird right now, and then the bird comes back 3 times with clues.
I was just about to say the same thing. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, so this is one of those things where working the case seems like it's from a narrative element. I love the whole going back and forth, right? And the clues can be there and kind of waiting for you. At the same time, I would also say that, given the fact that you mentioned juice and how effective it can be and how Flora used it, you could prepare for your next activity, right? You could by sending the bird in, you're saying, hey, get your ears to the ground, listen for this particular kind of information, and then you get 3 juice because of that, and you can introduce story tags, or you can introduce statuses that help you in some way. So, for example, let me give you a good example. You are in a situation where you need to confront Samuel again. You use that juice to create a story tag from something that comes from prison that helps you kind of establish the situation so that you have the upper hand there.
How about this? Enemy of an enemy is my friend type of thing. A fine rival for Samuel, who has he wronged? Who has wronged him? You know.
That's way better. Do that.
This could get way complicated. I just want you to know that. We're about to get into faction territory in a game that doesn't have factions.
Do that.
Good. I love it.
So, I mean, like I said, it's entirely up to you what you want to do. I think you have sky's the limit, and I think you're limiting yourself. I think Mike's right. You're limiting yourself by going with a flashback.
Okay, so yeah, I'll do the work the case then, and I'll go for the juice, specifically involved with in the trying to create a tag, you know, enemy of an enemy, you know, that type of.
All right, so you're going to create a story tag, enemy of an enemy.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So with that in mind, is that how you're going to spin the 3 tags? Is based on, or you're going to spin the 3 juice based on that story tag, or do you want to hold off on them? Because this is an element that I wasn't quite anticipating, so I'm going to need to do a little bit of legwork while the story progresses, and then get back to you probably before the end of stream to be able to give you that information. Okay?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's information or juice or however combination you want to give it to me, this is the only way that narratively Gephardt can continue to work the angle. He was completely out of luck. Phoebe Dare was the only thing he had left, so now he's got to find her or her sister or somebody to try to get back on the trail, because Flicker's working, Flora's working, he's stuck. He can't go any further, and this is it. This is all he has.
I mean, Johnny, if you want the enemy of my enemy, I can give it to you.
Yeah, I saw what you said in chat, but I want it to be a little bit more specific than that. I want to give him some real meat if that's what it's going to be.
Okay.
So, but okay, so you set all that up, right? And we're gonna call it 3 juice, and if it ends up being clues, that's fine too, right? At this point, but we're gonna call it juice, and you're gonna have the ability to use them in the way of the way Change the Game works, in this, very much in the same way that Flora did. So awesome. And so that's been set up. So we'll kind of get back to that as it's kind of coming into the story. But so you've got all that set up going. All right, excellent. And so with that, the 4 of you do montages of some kind, right? You do some sort of downtime activity. Where do we find you guys now? The sun's starting to creep down towards the sunset.
Did Gephardt bring anyone else in on what he wanted to do tonight?
Wait, is it sunset or it's midday?
It's creeping towards sunset, so it's late afternoon.
She would probably be outside in like one of the parks hanging out.
But
You've been hanging out with Cal? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like, did Gephardt ask us to meet for this op or whatever he's doing tonight? As far as we know, there's nothing going on, right?
I don't. We get phone calls and show up.
Maybe you don't have anything to do tonight. Maybe.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Did Gephardt bring us in on this?
You didn't give Gephardt any time to really kind of convey that to you guys.
It's true.
Actually, Gephardt, you guys don't have Gephardt's number, do you? It's just Flicker.
All right. Well, in that case, then I am still working until the evening. At which point, I'll go get dinner.
Malcolm returns to Mr. G's workshop. He doesn't have any fun in games right now, so he's going to go return.
Oh, come on! You're not running around bragging about beating up Manny?
No, he told him he would keep it a secret.
That would be
Just
bad
making
form.
sure.
It'd be bad form. You can't.
I was just making sure.
Yeah. So he returns to. So he returns to Mr. G's workshop, and if you recall, Mr. G basically just unzips the wood and opens a door into his house. Malcolm just opens a door and walks in to Mr. G's house, and he's excited. He's, Mr. G! Mr. G! Mr. G! I found... Hello! Mr. G! Hey!
Yes?
I found a clue!
clue.
Yes, a clue, like a real clue. So remember the one time that we went to Manny's house and Manny's dad came out and he was like, "Ah, get out of my house! You put my door back." You remember that time?
That was last night, yes.
Okay, so when you left, Manny came by my house and I beat him up. And then he brought his friends, and my friends beat up all of his friends, and it was so funny. And I think I broke his hand, and he was like, "My hand hurts." But he told me a secret, as long as I didn't tell anyone else that I beat him up. I did tell him that I was going to tell you, though. Not the girl at Xanadu, the other one, Phoebe.
Dare.
Yeah, okay, so he said that she came to the Skulls and asked if they would help her disappear. And they said, okay, and they helped her disappear. Oh, wait, but they don't know anything about the other sisters.
Malcolm.
Mm-hmm.
Where does your friend Manny's father keep his treasure?
Oh, I would imagine inside the house. I don't go in there ever. There's too many guys.
And Flicker's still there, right, Johnny?
Oh yeah.
He immediately goes over to her. I would like you to check the feed for the night of Phoebe Dare's disappearance. Anything around any of Mr. Samuel's holdings.
That was last night. I've been trying to track all the Street sisters.
Yeah, well, I found one, and then they said that Manny said his dad helped her get disappeared.
Malcolm, what were you doing messing around with Manny again? What have I told you?
I didn't
You're
mess
not supposed to mess around with him.
Shh, I didn't mess around with him. He came to my house and he messed around with me, and then I broke his hand and I beat him up.
Yeah, you got lucky this time. He tends to bring a lot more people. Why were you fighting with him?
It was my house. He wouldn't let me in my house.
It was his house.
It was my house this time.
You know, Malcolm Manny used to be your friend, Malcolm. You shouldn't beat up people who used to be friends.
I don't remember any of that. Everyone keeps saying that,
Anyways,
and I don't understand.
I've been trying to track them, Gephardt. I've been trying to track them. I've got a couple of weird things, but I don't really understand it yet. I'm still trying to.
You're tracking where they disappeared.
I've been looking at where they did. Yes.
Yes.
Because I don't see them I don't see them anywhere else on the city. They're gone.
Nothing around any of his properties.
No.
No arrivals. No cars.
No.
Oh, they didn't go by boat.
How do you know that?
Yeah, how do you know that, Malcolm?
Oh, because Manny and his dad, they don't go by the docks. Someone else is in charge of the docks.
Who's that?
I don't know all of their names, but they have stupid hats.
Great.
Yeah, they don't get along.
They don't get along with Samuel and Manny.
Yes.
Johnny, what do I have to do tonight? What's the arrangement that Flicker set up for me?
So Flicker says that there's that she's been trying to gain access to Pandora's Delight's corporate office. Pandora's Delight is the food and beverage company of the Dare sisters. And she has been trying to gain access, but she hasn't been able to because she's been on the run and hasn't been able to focus.
Okay, and then she's trying to get like firewall network access, not like physical on the ground access.
She's trying to make sure that she can gain physical access, that there's easy access into the building.
Is this conversation happening? Like, is it actually happening? Or are you recalling this conversation?
This would probably be Gephardt asking her. Now, what were we doing with this computer thing?
I could probably get in.
Manny, Malcolm, we've talked about this. You need to stay away from them.
Oh, but if you need to get in and you can't get in, and I can help you get in, I can help you get in.
I appreciate that, Malcolm.
Okay.
We had a deal, Gephardt. You keep him safe.
Does he appear injured?
Did your children appear injured before their untimely demise?
Out of nowhere, several arms reach up from the table that she's on and grab her around the throat. If she's fast, she damn well better be.
And she is. And she immediately jumps up, and she appears to be hovering there. And you can see behind her, as every time something reaches out, you can see her moving and darting around quickly. It's not just on the ground. She's flying.
A second after it occurs, the hands pull back, as if there was a flare-up, a moment of emotion that passed through Gephardt before he got control again. My dear, I would ask that you do not bring up them. Especially not in that context.
Then don't question the safety of Malcolm. We had a deal.
I believed our deal was to keep you safe.
That's
Are
the
you
deal.
renegotiating?
No, that's the deal for tonight. I get you in, I get you the information on Phoebe, or I get you access to the information on Phoebe. You make sure that I have enough time to be able to get through this and, have some capacity to figure out who the hell is after me. But that's not the deal with Malcolm. I introduced the two of you. I've directed you to that derelict because I knew what was going to happen. You need each other right now.
My dear, I'm sure you were watching when I arrived outside of the funeral home. Did you see a wide
I did not see any
block?
There are no cameras there.
Put that back, Malcolm. There would have been a fight. There was not a fight. When I left his side, he had a fight. Malcolm is my friend, as I believe you are, Flicker. I will not allow harm to come to my friends. Is that good enough for you?
She's staring at you cold and hard. She's kind of giving you the same cold stare that you're giving her. As long as you keep him safe, he doesn't go anywhere near there.
Near where? The beverage company? What are you talking about? I'm not going up against Samuel. It's insane.
Okay. And he's not allowed to break into the beverage company.
I'm an old man. He is a spry boy. He can jump and swing and do things that I cannot.
He can fight, he can fly, he can crow. I know the story, Gephardt. And you're not an old man. And clearly you are capable of things. And she again nods to the boy.
Would it make you feel better if JP and Flora were involved?
Just as long as he's not.
So, to recap, you are telling me that I cannot ask my friend Malcolm to go with me to the beverage company because you believe it to be too dangerous for him to attend. Yet you are willing to send me in there while you sit here.
I need you to help me get inside so I can get you the information. I'm trying to protect Malcolm. I don't know what we'll find in there.
Malcolm, Have you ever come to harm while you're with me?
No.
Have we had a reasonable amount of fun?
Yes.
Please take those with you.
Okay.
So you're going to insist that you're going to take him regardless of what I ask you.
He's good luck.
You can come too.
And she looks defeated.
Aww.
And as she looks defeated and kind of just settles, you can see a flicker of something on her back as they sort of settle back into her. And Gephardt, you know what that is, that she's... What's going on? Just know, he gets hurt. I'm going to hold you responsible.
I'll be fine.
My dear, you can hold me responsible as much as you want, but telling me what to do, there are no strings on me.
I'm sorry, that was good.
Well played.
That was James Spader good. That was awesome. And she gets all frustrated and immediately, turns and goes back to her laptop. We leave it dark.
He walks over to Malcolm and hands him his archaic flip phone. Call JP and Flora with this thing.
Oh, I don't have their number.
Ask Flicker for it. She won't talk to me now.
She throws a phone at Malcolm.
Ooh! That's the fun one.
No, call them. Don't play.
Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop.
Who are you calling first?
Not a ninja.
What time is it?
I don't know, like after 3, before 4, likely.
Johnny, check your messages.
So yeah, JP answers his phone, and you hear some electronic dance mix playing in the background, and people making noises, workout noises. And he's like, hello?
Hi, Not a Ninja. Are you at a party? It sounds like you're at a party. What are you doing?
I'm at work.
Okay, cool. I'm at Mr. G's house, so you should stop doing whatever you're doing. It sounds really boring. Your party doesn't sound any fun. We should go to Xanadu. Also, Mr. G wants you to come here. Something about he has beverages, and he needs your help tonight.
All right, I should be able to find a replacement. It's all just dance kickboxing classes tonight.
You dance on boxes? Okay, that's cool. All right, cool. I'm going to call the scary lady. Bye. Have a good day. Boop.
All right. Then Malcolm calls, finds some
JP.
replacement to go.
Yep, you needed.
So JP, as you're kind of closing your phone, you see that there's a text from Flora.
Yeah, I'll check the text.
Flora, what does the text say?
Salutations, friend. Bring a blanket and good vibes. XO Flora.
Does it say where to go?
No.
Okay.
But you'll get a text 30 seconds later that says the park.
JP is thoroughly confused, but he does what he needs to do to find somebody to cover his classes, and he'll go get Flora before heading to meet Malcolm.
Okay, so it's still daytime as these texts these conversations are going out. So is Malcolm calling Flora?
Yeah. Once he finds the number in there, he calls her. Bring. Bring.
Another great day. How's it going?
Hi, scary lady. Hi, it's Malcolm. Hi, what are you doing?
Hi, Malcolm.
Okay. What are you doing?
I'm at the park.
Okay, did you melt anyone else today?
No.
Oh.
It's not hot enough for that.
Okay, that's real boring. Mr. G says he has beverages and he needs your help tonight, and he needs you to be scary because there's stuff that's happening, and Flicker's worried that I'm not going to be safe, so you got to come do safety things.
Do you want to join JP and I for a picnic first?
Is there cake?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, bye. Boop! Mr. G, I got to go to a picnic. There's cake.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you later. And
Bye.
he opens the door again and leaves.
And so we're going to cut to Flora in the park.
So when you walk up, it would probably take you a while to figure out which person laying out she is, because it's like a nice day. People are all sitting out. There's a giant, one of those like tie-dye circle blankets, like a huge one, enough for probably like 10 people to sit. And there's picnic baskets with cake and little teacups and little thermoses and flowers everywhere. There seems to be a lot more flowers in this area of the park than any other park. And you see a woman with those retro, what do you call them? Like the 1920s, like big flowy dresses.
A poodle skirt.
Sort of, but no. The dress. It's not a poodle skirt. It's a full flowery dress, and it's like a halter. And you just see hair, bright red, vibrant hair down her back, and she's just laying there with these heart-shaped sunglasses on, suntanning.
Is she a flower child? Sorry. So JP, you're walking up, and you see this wonderful vision of Flora.
This is definitely not what JP's expecting, but he's gonna roll with the punches. She said to bring a blanket, right?
Yep.
In the text. Yeah, so he's got like one of those picnic blankets that like wraps up and like has a little tie thing. You know what I'm talking about? He's got one of those under his arm, and he's also got like a frisbee. And he sits down next to Flora. He's like, "Oh man, this is a beautiful spot.
It's the best. I come here almost every day. So gloomy at the morgue. How are you, friend?"
I'm good. I thought you liked the morgue. When I was saying it was creepy, you were giving me all those weird looks and.
I do, but day after day, it gets old. You get real stiff down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
there's stiffs down there. Yeah.
I got it. Did Malcolm call you?
Yeah, he's on his way over. Cake was the only word that he heard, I'm sure. I wonder if he'll bring Mr. G. Probably not.
Well, apparently he's got something he wants us to do. I mean, about the missing people, but I don't usually get to come to the park on a day like this. Really
Hiya! And Malcolm chops you, JP.
Malcolm, maybe you don't notice this because your imagination is so good. But if you're a normal person who karate chops JP, what you would notice is that it hurts your hand a hell of a lot more than you think it should. It's like hitting a block of stone.
Cool. No, he totally notices. So he, yeah, and chow. You didn't even dodge it. You're the most terrible ninja ever. I was told.
Ninjas aren't just sneaky; they're also strong.
Who are you?
You've met her before. It's Flora.
No, she was scary, and
I also go by Creepy Lady.
Yeah, no, that's what I call the creepy lady. But that's
Yeah.
not. You seem really not creepy.
You want to see something cool?
Yes.
So she reaches into the ground, and she's just kind of like a little magic trick because he's a child, and she'll scoop up some of the dirt, and she'll just kind of like and start to rub the dirt together, and you just start to see grass and a little bit of flowers start to sprout.
Oh man, that's cool. Where's the other lady though?
He's a little slug. It's okay. It's okay. So do you want some cake?
Yes.
That basket.
Yeah.
That one has tea, and
Gross.
that one is not for you.
What's in that one?
Alcohol.
Okay.
Not for you. But the cake, help yourself. She smacks his hand. Yeah. So she starts to get the dirt off of her gloves. So what was this about, something tonight?
Oh, I get to break into the beverage factory.
Mr. G said you could.
Yeah. He thought about it.
With who? Ah, Flicker.
Yeah. Are you gonna come with the creepy lady too? You can make
She
plants.
smiles at JP and kind of like nudges him.
You can make plants, and she can spit on people because she's gross.
Okay, I'll invite her.
Okay.
They're the same. Forget it.
She does one of those like shoulder massages. It's okay. We've all had a long night.
I didn't. I slept until like just now. I beat up Manny.
You did what now?
I beat up Manny. You can't tell anyone though. I told him that I wouldn't tell too many people.
I thought we weren't supposed. We were gonna not fight them.
No, and then he came to my house and then he was like, "I'm gonna fight you. You need to learn a lesson." And the lesson was how to beat him up. And I learned it real good because I beat him up.
Your own house?
Yeah. Well, outside
Audacity.
outside my house.
So rude.
Yeah. I know, but I beat him up and I broke his hand, so it's fine.
Good for you.
Thanks.
By the way, JP, I appreciate the aid that you supplied yesterday. I needed help.
Call you
were
flower
there.
lady.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, I just thought I should help. I mean, people were in trouble, so.
So, more cake is what I'm hearing.
You have more cake?
And you see her just start to open up another basket, and she's just rifling through for like crackers. She's like throwing food out, and just like getting to the bottom where there's like a little tiny slice of cake. I made this one. I had gloves on. Don't worry.
Okay.
Safety.
From the dirt? It's okay. I eat things with dirt on them all the time.
That can't be good for you.
How do you know?
I mean, it's just nature.
Are you a doctor?
I am not.
There you go.
I have. Okay.
So, can we go break into stuff?
Can you finish that cake? Because I don't want to carry leftovers.
Can I finish a cake? Are you kidding me? Of course I can finish a cake.
Time out. You have to save one piece for Mr. G.
Mr. G doesn't like cake.
Bring it anyway. Maybe Flicker. It's rude to not come home with something.
Fine.
I'll put some crackers in my pocket for later in case you want them.
Gross.
They have cheese on them. They're
Oh.
really good.
Okay.
So she starts to pack up her blanket, and if you looked in the other bag, it has a change of clothes to what you would normally see Flora wearing.
Yeah, I think JP is very curious, but it's gonna be a little too polite to like really dive into this line of inquiry. But he will ask Malcolm. He'll be like, "I mean, it's still light out. Are you sure that Gephardt and Flicker want to do this during the day?"
I think they said tonight.
Then we don't have to go, do we?
No?
You see Flora put her sunglasses back on, lay down, and she has like one leg over the other in the air, and she's just like texting on her phone. She's texting Mr. G.
Malcolm, let's play frisbee.
Okay. And they proceed to play frisbee.
So we'll kill time playing frisbee. I'll do lots of unnecessary like flips and jumps and stuff while I'm throwing the frisbee around to entertain Malcolm.
Are you trying to show off to a child-minded teen that you actually are a ninja?
Not really. I'm just like, know that if I do like weird crap while throwing the frisbee, it's more likely to keep your attention for longer.
That's fair.
All right, so we're going to cut to sunset then in the park.
As she starts, it gets a little bit colder in the evenings. While they're playing frisbee, she's texted Mr. G that they'll be there, and that she's bringing him cakes. And then there's a bunch of emojis of like hearts and other things, and like just being nice and like little flower emotes and stuff. And then she'll go into one of the public restrooms and change real quick. And when she comes out, she's wearing something akin to what a morgue worker would wear, but she's still very Flora. She's walking around. Bye, friends! Just to people who she always sees in the park every day, who go out on their breaks, just saying goodbye to people.
You're dressed just like Scary Lady.
And as you see the sun start to go down, once it's at a low enough point, you start to see the roots of her hair turn black until it's fully black all the way down. And you see her skin get a little bit whiter, and her lips a little bit redder, and her tone of her voice changes just a little bit until she's back to how you would recognize her, Malcolm.
Oh. Gross. The nice lady gives me cake and doesn't spit on anybody.
Speaking of JP, I'm assuming you haven't talked to him yet. I called Mr. G last night on his way home. There was one of those men following me all the way to my work.
You didn't, like, tear his arm off or burn him, did you?
No, I thought about it. I spit on him, but it had no effect.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, if you didn't get in a fight, I guess you did better than Malcolm.
If they're immune to that, I can still fight, but there's something off. More off than us.
Well, I guess just be careful. I mean, if it comes down to it, I'm sure I could handle a fair few of them. But, I mean, it's better to avoid fights, Flora. It's better not to spit on people and burn them up to death if we can avoid it in the future.
I didn't burn anyone.
You know what I meant. Just like turn and keep walking.
So she just grabs her knapsack, throws it over, picks up her coroner's kit, puts it in the same bag, and just starts walking with you guys, heading back to Mr. G.
All right, we're going to cut back to Mr. G's workshop. How do we find Mr. G preparing for the evening?
Well, what time is it? Like 6?
Yeah, sundown. It's the summertime, so it's more like probably 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Okay, well, he's definitely drinking a cup of coffee. He's, yawning quite a little bit. It's, this is his time to settle down, but he is gearing up. He has his pockets full of things, and he is awaiting the arrival of Malcolm and the others, as I'm sure he and Flicker are now sitting in an uncomfortable, at least for her, silence.
Oh, she's not uncomfortable at all. She appears to be completely engaged and hasn't really moved from her position at her laptop for the last couple hours.
Okay. Well, then, the 80s on 8 continue to play as...
Okay. And so the three of you walk in finding, Mr. G and Flicker, in this strange, uncompromising position.
I'm imagining like Bon Jovi or something on the radio when we come in.
Perhaps just John Bon Jovi, little blaze of glory.
Blaze of glory.
I've been watching much of the Olympics.
Yeah. When I get in there, I think JP still has a little bit of a hard time. He's only been here 3 times. He has a little bit of a hard time, like, not being a little bit in awe when he, like, walks into the magical workshop with all of the moving toys. But he tries to rein it in. He only, like, stops to stare for a few seconds this time.
Flora probably walks in, sits in any other chair that's near Mr. G. I made an interesting friend last night, early this morning. Someone who might be able to look into your case.
Ooh. I did not see that. Who would that be, my dear?
What's his last name? I don't remember.
Derek Roth.
Detective
To,
Roth.
to which I believe Gephardt would have a little bit of an issue because that was the investigating detective on the case that eventually went to trial and
She would know that, yeah.
put him away.
Yeah. I understand that you may not like this, but he would be the best person to speak to.
Yeah, yes, my dear, but he believes that I am incarcerated at present.
Yes, I did not mention you. I am merely working him as a fellow colleague, someone interested in the case based on, and pardon me, the bodies and any other evidence that we could go through. If I can find one flaw, one string, and pull at it, we could unravel this. I will not let him know you are out.
I know that the perpetrators of the crime have not left the city.
Makes my job easier.
Indeed. Thank you.
I'll keep at it. Also, I gave Malcolm a shit ton of sugar. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry.
I ate a whole cake.
I am so sorry. But Malcolm,
The nice lady made me save a piece for you.
Flicker, would you like a piece of cake?
I told you he doesn't like cake.
the gesture, Malcolm.
Sure.
Thank you.
Who made this? Or did I hear somebody make the? You made this?
I made it. I was wearing gloves.
And she starts to eat. I'm almost done. And she goes back to her work as you see that there are crumbs sort of flowing over the place, and she commits the ultimate blasphemy of crumbs on the laptop keys. And anybody who's in the tech would just cringe at that particular.
Flora's very neat and tidy. She would cringe a little.
JP's gonna go into Gephardt's kitchen to search for the rest of that coffee he's drinking.
Yeah, you'd find a pot actually, warming on the stove. As soon as the crumbs start to get pretty intense, you see Gephardt kind of winks and nods, and a little elephant crawls out from one of the lower shelves, waddles over and starts to suck up some of the crumbs with its trunk, and a little windmill climbs off one of the shelves and gets over right by the keyboard and starts to spin and blow the crumbs out of as much as it can.
Is he Casper in Ghostbusters, where all the douchey brother ghosts are eating and there's food all over the floor because it goes right through them, and he just has a little dustpan? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
No, he doesn't want rats in a place filled with wood.
She would motion to JP as he's leaving.
So, as that little thing comes up and starts to blow, she's like, damn it, Gephardt, that's cold. And she knocks it off. My fingers, God. She just keeps typing. I'm almost done. You can clean it off then. She continues to type. And you wait for her to finish?
Well, her plan is to gain access, and then we take her there, and then she goes in and does whatever she has to do, right?
You're there to help her get information for you.
Then we have to wait for her.
Right. So
well, when JP gets back with the coffees for him and Flora, he's gonna ask Gephardt what we're doing, because he hasn't gotten the scoop. So
Neither of us have.
Yeah. He'd fill you guys in on all the information, that it's the beverage company owned by the Duray sisters. It might have some information as to where potentially one of them was taken. If we can find any clues to their whereabouts, or even whereabouts of, maybe another member of the company, that, any information that we can find. This is one of the threads. I got that right? Yes. Right. Sure.
So,
maybe. Kinda. I don't know. Kinda? Not really? Does that sound like Malcolm? That was like a Malcolm explanation.
What that I gave?
Yes. Anyways, go on.
Well, they heard it from you, so I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
say
No, it's fine. It's fine.
We learned this from watching you.
JP will be like, so who's gonna stay outside of the lookout? Who's going in? Infiltration team. Lookout. No.
I don't know.
Oh, Mr. G.
Why?
I don't know why I call you that. Gephardt. when I saw one of the men walking back, the one that I called you about, he is impervious to me.
To
Fixed
Flicker
it.
Showed me.
What? What? What, Gepard?
I didn't say anything.
You said my name.
I said Flicker showed me on the camera the pictures of.
Oh,
the
I'm
person
sorry.
following-
She goes back to typing.
You are easily distracted, Flicker.
I'm under a lot of stress here. Excuse me. She goes back to typing.
With a nod, the windmill climbs back up and slowly.
Pop. She just pop.
It just slowly climbs back up and peeks over the side and just a little bit. Yes, so we were watching. It's impervious to you.
I don't think it's the only one either. They followed
That is
me all the way.
Do you think they knew that?
Yes. I do want to kill him for calling me honey, though.
Malcolm.
Well, to be fair, I mean, if Malcolm's story is, real, kind of real, I mean, they're definitely not immune to being hit with bats. So there's that.
I'm done. Okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare anybody.
Manny's not
Continue.
like his dad.
Really?
How is that?
Huh?
You said Manny is not like his dad. How is that?
His dad is like a scary lady, but worse.
Like,
Fixed it.
he can do things that she can do?
Not like that. That's what, sometimes that's what, Manny says when I beat him up and he threatens me about his dad. But I don't think Manny can do it, or he wouldn't threaten me about his dad. He would just threaten me normal.
Have you ever seen Manny do anything?
No. I've seen him get hit with a bat. Sometimes he tries to hit me with a bat. Sometimes he hits me with a bat. Sometimes it's other stuff, too. It's not always a bat.
Malcolm, think very carefully.
Okay.
Is Manny Samuel's son?
Yeah.
Has he always been Samuel's son?
I think so.
What are you getting at, Gephardt? Flicker asks.
Are they biologically related?
I can tell you yes.
Just curious.
What are you getting at, Gephardt?
The boy does not share his father's powers. That is strange.
Is this sort of stuff normally like hereditary? I mean, I don't think anyone else in my family can do this stuff.
No, but if you achieve a certain standing, I can't imagine Samuel would allow his boy to partake in the type of occupation he is in without certain aids.
Manny always wasn't a good boy with his father. And she looks to Malcolm and says to Gephardt, Manny and Malcolm used to be friends. But things change. Maybe not for Malcolm.
Flicker, how can you tell that they're related? By blood, I mean.
Because I was there when Malcolm met Manny?
So you don't... I'm not questioning you. You don't know for sure. You don't have a way that you can tell with your...
Oh, you okay? Well, hold on. And she begins to type, and she spends a couple of minutes, and you see medical records kind of come up. Well, he was born in the hospital in the blue-collar district, and his dad listed here is Samuel. So yes, and his mom is named Maria. They've got a big family. 5 or 6, children.
What happens when you search me?
We were talking about Samuel and Nanny.
We were.
Okay. And she begins to type. Inconclusive. I mean...
Story of my life. Don't worry about it. Sorry.
You wouldn't have asked had... All right.
Maybe we should focus on the mission for tonight.
Yes, please.
It was just a question. I've been here every time you guys have called. It was just a question.
No, I was the one that got us sidetracked, my dear. You have a valid question. Mine was a flight of fancy.
Anyway,
No,
we
it could
go.
be related if we're going against them. We need to know what we're up against, especially based on what happened last night when I was walking home.
I agree.
It worries me. Could you make me something? Doesn't have to be for tonight.
What would you like?
For that, I have infinite answers, but simply a weapon. If I am unable to fight them by my natural means, I could still be of use, but a weapon would be helpful, something easily concealed.
That is not a problem.
Thank you.
so Flicker, assuming the skulls don't decide to come after us while we're in the middle of this, what do you
Wait.
expect?
Hold on a second. Hold on. What makes you think that you're going to come after us when we're going to be clear across town and nowhere near the blue collar district?
I don't think they will tonight. I'm not disagreeing that it won't be useful information in the future. I mean, I'm just saying.
Are you been listening to Malcolm again?
What, you know what? Just forget it. When we get inside, what are you expecting? Do you need help on the inside? Do you just need a lookout on the outside?
I have gained access. I have spent some time. I have gained us access. I have a key card that will give us access to the building. Again, unfettered access to the entire building. We're going to Pandora's Delight's corporate office, which is in the downtown district. There, I will gain access to their private network, and with the hope of actually finding some information for Mr. Gephardt and for myself in my investigation. I need you there because I need to be able to focus. I don't know what we're running into, and if those guys in gray suits show up again, I need some help. I mean, it's that simple. I personally would not like Malcolm to go, but I keep getting overridden. So you're there as much to take care of him as you are to take care of me.
The way I see it, Malcolm will be wherever Malcolm wants to go. So, I mean, us taking him with us might be the safest option, really. Think about it.
Not if you give him a treasure map. Bless you.
Sorry.
I mean, I've got a treasure map. Malcolm, do you want the treasure map?
Yeah.
We're going to a soda company.
Is there also treasure at it?
What would you call thousands of bottles of soda.
I hate choices. What's your treasure?
Pirate booty?
No, I have plenty of that. Soda it is.
Are you sure, Malcolm?
Yep.
It's pirate booty that'll make you look like a king.
I am a king.
King of the pirates?
I already am.
Are you sure?
Captain Malcolm. Mr. G, I need a sword.
Not yet.
But there's a ship there, Malcolm.
Captain.
You're really not a captain without a ship. She's holding it out to you, and you can see that it's a beautiful, wonderful map with X marks the spot on an island.
And he like looks to Mr. G.
Is she telling the truth?
X does mark the spot to the treasure, yes.
And there's a ship there?
Oh, yes.
She knows there'll be a ship there because Malcolm thinks there's a ship there, so she's not lying.
Because there'll be a
You can
ship
catch it on
there.
real quick.
There'll be a ship there now, that's for sure. And then he looks to Mr. G and he kind of looks to everyone else and he's reaching his hand out and he puts his hand down and he says, "No, I have to help Mr. G. He can't get into buildings. Look at him."
Your loyalty is, she begins to roll it up, as admirable, Malcolm.
I'm an admiral.
That's not what I said. I'll put this here for later, but if you want to go at any time, this gets boring, you let me know, and I will give you your treasure map.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it's very simple. We're going to go in the back door. We're going to gain access. The room that we gained access to is on the 50th floor. That's it, guys. And when we get there, Gephardt, it's going to be you and me asking questions here. All right? If anything you want. Okay. All right, so let's go. And she kind of gets up and she moves very quickly and she gets, she finds her leather jacket. She changes the rest of her outfit really quickly as she runs to the restroom and comes back, and she packs up her laptop and a couple other things, and it's all in a blur. And when she's done, she's like, "Okay, let's go."
As she's moving around really quickly, Gephardt seems to stare off into like the middle distance for a moment, and his left eye, the one that's blue, starts to glow and illuminate with that focused spotlight as it starts to creep around, kind of absently staring at one of the far walls. And for a moment, that silhouetted figure is dancing on the inside, and it leans down as if it's whispering to somebody. And Gephardt nods slowly once, and the light fades, and he turns and calls his son.
Okay. And without further ado, we're going to cut to the back entrance. All right, so the doorway opens for Flicker as expected. The four of you are there with her. Is there anything that you want to do prior to going inside, or are you good with this as this scenario begins to open?
Good to go.
Okay. She leads you through a series of hallways in the back, and occasionally she consults her phone. She's like, no, all right, we're gonna go this way, and she makes a move around. No, okay, all right, let's go this way, and eventually you come to a service elevator. And she's like, this is gonna be the quickest. The other elevators are monitored. We're gonna have unfettered access here. Can you? And she points to Gephardt. Can you put something down here to kind of keep an eye on what's? No, there's not. You're not one of your little toys.
Why would I use one of mine?
Because I don't necessarily trust the security here.
Okay, what's this place made out of?
Oh, it's all steel and concrete, and there is no wood paneling whatsoever.
Okay. Gephardt will reach into one of his pockets and pull out a little disc. It's very, very thin. And he takes the disc and with a movement, it almost creates like a suction cup on the end. And he puts it on a smooth surface in one of the halls that they had passed. And he just takes his hands and draws a line down the middle of it. And a pair of human lips appear on the small disc. And he leans forward and he says, "Please yell out if anyone comes this way." And the lips say, "But of course."
So creepy.
I go home.
I don't know what's creepier, Flora's disgusting, rotting flesh.
My
Or
flesh
the-
is not rotting. Other people's flesh is rotting.
You know what I mean. Or Gephardt's creepiness. Ugh.
Gephardt,
All right.
What
Gephardt's
else do you
creepy.
use those
Flora
words
is
for?
gross.
I'm not sure which I like more or don't like more. All right. She looks at you. She's like, "That's a little weird." Okay. Malcolm, get in here. Here's my phone. Play the game.
I thought I was supposed to help you get in somewhere.
We're in, Malcolm. Play the game.
Oh.
And the elevator begins to ascend. And so when you arrive at the 50th floor, it opens up and it's a huge server room. It's cold as hell in there, and it's loud, and it's just like it's a cacophony of blowers and AC and all of that. And the floor is slightly raised as you kind of walk in, and there's a series of cabinets with various wiring just kind of running up into conduits into the ceiling. And she kind of leads you through and takes you back into sort of the center of this place. And there's like a raised area specifically with like a desk and a couple of terminals. And she leans in up to Gephardt. This is what we need. So let's have them kind of fan out a little bit. I've got the security kind of locked down here. I just want to make sure. And then sit with me here.
Is the ceiling like totally finished with like panels, or is there like sort of stuff like hanging, etc.?
So you can see big bundles of like Cat5 wiring just kind of going up into the ceiling, and occasionally you see bundles of actual fiber going up into the ceiling. There are panels up there, but there are spaces where it's definitely unfinished.
So if I can do it without totally like shutting down this whole server room, I'm just gonna like jump and like try to like hang around on the ceiling area so that I can survey the area.
Okay. That was unexpected. Okay, so when you jump up, so it's like the ceiling's about 12 feet up. The cabinets are about 6 feet, 6 to 7 feet high, depending upon the type of cabinet it is, right? So you can jump up there and you could probably like kind of walk around on the cabinets as they're all kind of really connected, right? It's not like open racks. It's all closed in cabinet spaces.
Right. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm trying to like be a little bit sneaky, but I'm basically just figuring that I'll be able to scope out more of the like hallways essentially of servers if I'm up top.
And Flicker kind of looks at you. All right, well, that's kind of inventive, I guess. All right. What's Flora doing?
She's going to walk all the way back to the door right where the last row is before the lip goes down to the entrance and just sit Indian style on her phone. She's just watching news clips, flipping through on her phone. She's doing like research and just kind of hanging out, watching.
Okay. Okay. And so...
Wait,
Go
Johnny,
ahead.
you said the room is very loud because of all the fans and everything, right? Like it'd be difficult to hear somebody come in unless we had eyes on them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go
So,
ahead.
Malcolm, Gephardt goes over to Malcolm and he slowly takes the phone out of his hands and puts it in his pocket. And he says, "I have a much better game." And he reaches in and pulls the sword out and it extends it the full way and hands it to him and presents it as a squire would to a knight. And he says, "Listen how quiet it is here. It's like the middle of a ship in a calm ocean. Anyone could be creeping up. Can you imagine it,
I can.
Malcolm? How quiet it is. It's so quiet."
It's the quietest. If JP were a ninja, we wouldn't even know he was here.
That's right. We need to listen because it's so quiet.
Okay.
I want you to walk around in this quiet room and see if you see or hear anyone, but be quiet as a mouse, just like the room, just as how quiet it is.
Okay. And Johnny, just before Gephardt slid the phone out of Malcolm's hands, Malcolm got bored because he beat the game. I'm going to roll investigate and go through her phone.
Oh no!
It's unlocked, and she handed it to me.
All right, you're going to investigate on her phone?
On her phone.
Okay.
Contacts,
All right, so
he's bored and just going through it.
So first and foremost, I'm going to let Gephardt know that's a change the game move kind of buddy. You're going to have to roll it. Malcolm doesn't get to roll it. You get to roll it as to whether it changes Malcolm's... it has an effect on Malcolm or not. I just want you to know that, because the way you said that and the way that you portrayed it, it's not going to work with his imagination. It's going to work with you basically changing the game for him. So that's coming. Think about what power tags apply. Roll and investigate, and what power tags are rolling with your investigate?
Insatiable curiosity, every scam in the book, and criminal underbelly.
Every scam in the book. How does that apply?
Because he's basically going through her contacts and looking for code names and people that he knows, and basically any name that jumps out to him, because he kind of has an idea of who Flicker is, and knows that she uses code words.
Okay.
Is that...
Okay, all right. No weaknesses apply. Go ahead and roll it.
Oh, there we go. There's the start of the bad rolls.
Yep, there. It's a matter of time.
All right.
Okay.
Use one of those three apply to your 3 clue.
Yep. So...
Ask me the 3 questions.
Can I completely brick her phone? Is that one of the outcomes? Oh, man. So the first question is, do I know any of her contacts?
Yes.
Okay. Touche.
Well, you definitely recognize some of her contacts. Do you want to know who you recognize?
Yep, that's question number 2, Johnny. Who do I recognize? Fuck me running.
Gephardt, JP, Flora, Manny. Although his number is listed, and apparently she's got a note, and it says, no longer valid. Too bad. Somebody named Smithers that catches your eye, and you're like, huh? What? Huh? And that name just kind of jogs some memory, but otherwise you're not really sure. And that's all the names that you recognize. Oh, sorry. One other name. Gerald Walker.
And one more name.
What's name is that?
Calvin. She called him.
You would not...
It wouldn't be in there under Calvin? That's fine. If it's not an obvious name that he would recognize.
No, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Okay.
Calvin would definitely...
Okay. Not that he needs it. I think he still has Calvin's business card somewhere.
Does he?
I don't know.
Does he really?
I have no idea.
Because, I mean, if he lost it, I mean, that would be another treasure hunt, right?
It would be. That's true. Okay. So he gets bored looking for these numbers. It doesn't seem really important to him. Man, what's a good third question? Guys, chat, group, what do you guys think?
Who are the last people that she texted?
Sure.
That'd be us.
Since the girl disappeared, who has she texted?
Oh,
Is that
you
your
know
third
what?
question?
No.
It's a good one, but...
Man, I don't know if Malcolm would think to know this. I think, if anything, Malcolm would have stumbled across this. Who else is looking for the sisters?
That's a good question.
To be fair, that could have been answered with who's texting.
All right. So you see a couple of phone numbers that she was texting that have no names associated with them. Which strikes you as odd. You also know that in her, like she's got a text editor on there, right? She's got like a notepad or whatever, notes or whatever the equivalent of the the city's phones, right? And she notes that the investigation into Phoebe is being managed by Derek Roth, and that the investigation into Alexis's disappearance is by Catherine Devereaux. And there's no indication about the investigator for Megan. Also, no nudes.
Damn it.
Because that would be gross.
Which one? Megan was the one that was taken outside of Xanadu, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Was she taken, though?
I mean,
I
that's
think the Thursday crew knows the answer to that.
as far as Malcolm understands it.
Yes, of course.
And Phoebe was taken...
Do you take nude pictures, or you take inappropriate pictures and leave them on her phone?
Every time I have the phone, there's like... and there's Snapchat filters with him as a pirate king.
Okay.
Nude pictures.
There's not nude pictures. There's rude pictures.
There's lewd pictures.
There's inappropriate pictures. No, that's not true. He's a child.
Well,
or at least in his
children
head
can
he
take
is.
inappropriate things, and they're not necessarily nudes.
Oh yeah, there's pictures of like her butt, because butts are funny. Like he takes a picture of a butt. There's probably JP's butt. Whoever's butt's near him. It's pictures of that. Phoebe was the one that was taken outside of Tinseltown, right?
Phoebe was the one that was taken at Olympus.
Olymp.
Okay.
At the party in Olympus. Is Malcolm finally taking notes?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna forget it and tell someone else, so it's someone else's responsibility once I blurt it out of my face. But until then, I need notes because I don't remember things. Yeah, so then the phone gets slid out, and it's probably then that whatever bad consequence happens. And then, so yeah, Gephardt, you were trying to do something, I believe?
He
I'm
was trying to
trying
change the game.
Yeah, so here's what I'm going to use, Johnny. I am going to use my theme, Honest John, and I am going to use both blackmail falsehoods, which allows me to manipulate the truth to my liking, and lies yet untold. So that one allows me to manipulate future truths and falsehoods. But I am going to give myself a weakness because my power has a problem with kids.
I was just going to say, if you didn't invoke it, that's what I was going to invoke. Beautiful.
And also, I think we got a +1 juicy juice, or is that?
Yeah,
is
everyone has a +1 juice because we hit 10 out of 10 retweets.
Yep.
Okay, is that a extra die on this?
Yeah,
or-
it's basically
It's
plus
an extra power tag.
Yeah, it's +1 power tag.
Okay, so I'll be +3 power tags, -1 for a total of 3, with a change the game. Ciao. I don't even know what I got.
Great success.
Great success.
Great success. So, you got minimum of 2 for a great success, so that the first power tag that you use counts as 2, plus 2 additional.
Okay.
So that means you have a total of 4 for juice. Now you can bank some of them if you need to, but using those, set the stage for what it is, how you affected Malcolm.
Okay, so in the way that Gephardt set the scene for Malcolm, as this is the quietest place he's ever heard, he wants to evoke in Malcolm the perception and the imagination of a tier 4 stronghold, where this area is the sancta sanctorum of our group, and that coming into this area is well nigh impossible given the imagination of one Malcolm.
Given it's impossible to come in, to be clear, status tag 4, tier 4, nobody can get in because Malcolm believes nobody can get in. Okay, fair enough. Great, no worries.
Awesome.
That is going to be a temporary tag for as
Right,
long
for
as
like
you're
a
in.
month.
For as long as you're in this room, but that's the
Correct.
that's the temporary state
Correct.
of it. Okay, great, perfect. All right. Flicker looks back at you. You know, when you come back. Are we good? Are we done? Can we get started?
That is why he is here, Flicker. He is my friend, and he is very, very useful. He can take care of himself.
And she looks at you in all seriousness for just a second, and she says, "Yes, I know he's useful, but he's more than that to me. And if you put him in danger, you will answer to me."
My dear.
And again, serious face on her.
He says, "My dear, if he is ever in danger and comes to harm, I will already be gone, because they will have to get through me to hurt him."
She shakes her head. All right, let's get started. And she starts typing away. And so there's this bit of like a montage of time as Flora and JP are doing what their thing is. You know, JP kind of stomping around, kind of taking in the scene and the situation. Flora's just kind of typing away on her phone, right? She's just watching videos and typing away on her phone.
She would get bored eventually and start throwing crackers from her bag, trying to throw them into JP's mouth while he's hanging up there. whether he allows it or not.
What is Malcolm doing? How does Malcolm invoke this stronghold status 4 tag?
So, I will tell you how.
That's great. I'm really glad that you're going to tell us.
So, Mr. G has convinced Malcolm that this is a den of silence and that no one can penetrate because we're guarding this place, right? Is that what I'm understanding here?
Yeah, that this is our sancta sanctorum, and it is so quiet. So the fans of the server room would die down.
Sure.
And everything would be...
And it's very important that no one knows we're here and that we protect Flicker, right? That's what he has understood? Cool. So as soon as Mr. G tells him this and sort of wanders off to go check on Flicker, Malcolm squats down, and in the blinking lights of the server room, he leans down and says, "Okay, so you heard Mr. G. No one can know we're here, and we have to be quiet like ninjas. And I'm going to roll Change the Game with that +4 power tag from Mr. G. I'm going to add Imagine Things to Life, Clap If You Believe, because Mr. G, and Shadow Manipulation as the multi-directions of my shadow, because of all the flashing lights, all rise up off the ground, separate, and become ninjas, and begin to patrol around this area.
I was muted.
Chapow!
Nobody clapped for you.
I did.
You clapped
I
once.
didn't get a bonus. It's okay. I got the Mr. G believes.
Rude.
So, 7.
Okay,
7 power tags.
That's 8.
Okay, cool. So a shitload of ninjas appear. Yeah, I think that's really it. A shitload of ninjas appear.
You could hide the effect and make them invisible to enemies.
No, because they're ninjas, and ninjas are awesome. I want you to know you get your ass kicked by a ninja. Obviously, why would...
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. You're creating a story tag of ninjas.
Yeah, so I'm creating create and summon new objects or beings with a tag of 1, I create 7 or 8 ninjas.
Okay, so there's a little thing about that particular point. It basically is creating a story tag.
Okay.
Because that doesn't match what's actually in the book.
Oh, okay.
And the one-to-one interpretation is that, but yes, it's basically the same thing. Creating a story, creating a new object or a tag, right?
Sure.
So you're creating ninjas.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's your first juice. Your second juice is to scale the effect or prolong the effect. So basically have them cover the entire room, right? And then have them do it for as long as you're here. Is that my...
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale the effect to make more of them, right? I'm going to prolong the effect to make it last as long as we're here, right? Last this whole scene, basically.
Okay.
I'm going to hide the effect because they're ninjas and they have to be stealthy, but they're visible. They're just quiet and like stealth, right? That's 3. I think that's it. Then I'm just going to bank 4 juice.
All right, sounds good. Okay, and so as these ninjas begin to spread out, Malcolm, how do you operate in this situation?
Man, he remains quiet. Did he see JP jump up on top of the servers?
I would assume so.
Is anyone around Malcolm?
I don't know. I mean, that's really up to you.
So if everyone's kind of congregated around the same area, Malcolm kind of slinks off, down one of the server racks, and he's gonna look around, and then when JP moves, he's gonna float and stand on top of one of the server racks, and he's gonna look at JP and go, and then he's gonna quietly look around and patrol.
Okay, so we're gonna go into a montage moment. Initiated by Flicker, but giving Gephardt 3 questions that he can answer. So basically, this is working the case. So this is Flicker's first stab at, paying you back. So you get 3 questions. What are your 3 questions?
Okay, and these would be information pertaining to my investigation.
Pertaining to your case.
Okay.
Yes.
The first one would be, obviously, who killed my family. And if I can't get the answer to that one, it would be, is my family mentioned anywhere? Am I mentioned anywhere in this database? And who is the person is there an email with somebody that's tagged, this mail goes to here or that goes to here, it's in a file with somebody's name on it. I need a name with somebody that's linked with my family.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of backstory real quick on Gephardt and his family prior to their death. So Gephardt was a cop, correct?
Gephardt was a city inspector.
A city inspector. What did Gephardt's wife do?
She was a school teacher.
She was a school teacher. Okay. All right. So as you're beginning to kind of look through this information, or Flicker's beginning to look through this information for you, she's like, "Wow, these sisters, they spent a lot of time with the Walker Foundation, and its predecessor. Wow, their names date back before World War II. That's kind of interesting, huh? All right. That's something later to worry about. Maybe that was their mothers or something. And she, she's digging around. And she's like, what? Your wife was a teacher, right?
Yes, she was.
What do you know? What district did she teach in? Like, which part of the city did she teach in? Was it a low income or an impoverished district?
Yes, low income.
Don't take this the wrong way. It looks like her name is mentioned here in a correspondence between the sisters and the Walker Foundation. She was. It looks like she was questioning some of their methods in helping kids at her school, and a couple of kids in her class. That's odd.
I need names, Flicker.
I'm working on it. All right, give me a second. This, just because I move fast doesn't mean, this doesn't take time. The sisters weren't directly involved, but they were CC'd on this. Someone named Olivia. Let me see if I can find a last name. I just see her signature with Olivia. Olivia Jenkins, I believe, is the woman's name. She was their. Oh, that's interesting. She was their. She was the corporate connection, the facilitator or the liaison between Pandora's Delights and the Walker Foundation for funding. It seems like they were doing some funding to get some what looks like lunch program of some kind. Your wife, she seems like she was frustrated. She thought that they were feeding the kids too much sugar and soda because the kids were having these reactions. They would become disruptive in class, and some of them are said to have become violent. Huh. Yeah, this Olivia Jenkins. Yeah, her correspondence is all over this. She's still here at the company, at least according to the last employee record. At the beginning of the year.
I need her home address.
And she finds it, and it's an apartment in the blue collar district.
Okay, I've got one more then, right?
Yep.
It was her apartment. Okay, the last one, and he looks around and he whistles like a sparrow and says, Malcolm.
And Malcolm jumps down. Yes.
Do you remember the woman that made me stare off when we were in the coffee shop?
Yes.
Tell Flicker what she looked like. Describe her.
Okay. And he goes into detail about the cat lady.
Gephardt, I know what she looks like. I know what Julia Sable looks like. What do you want to know about her?
We fought her inside the forest.
Yeah, and I tried to get you to leave, Malcolm, and you didn't leave.
No, I beat her up instead.
Well, if I seem to remember correctly, that young woman, Lily, was the one doing all the beating.
No.
It doesn't matter. What do you want to know about Julia Sable? She's bad business. I would not.
Walker was coming to help me.
Yeah.
She killed Walker.
Yeah, I know.
I need to know why.
I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Allow me here. Find her for me.
Gephardt, there's a ton of information here. There's a lot going on here. I've got to do some digging myself. That seems like something I can do outside of here. Like, if you want me to track her down, I can write another one of my little programs, and we can see if we can. I'm doing something for JP right now. He's got some weird fetish about maybe he's not the only one out there. I don't know. I as much as I love the work that you're doing with Malcolm, and at the same time concerned about you bringing him here, maybe you not want to spend some fatherly time with JP. He seems really obsessed with naked clones.
Well, we are all looking for that special someone. So,
Gross.
Find if there's anything with this bottling company, the Dare sisters, and Sable. I find it interesting that she killed Walker, and one of the Dare sisters was going to take his position. If anyone benefited from Walker's death, it would have been her.
That's a jump to conclusion. Okay. And she starts to type again. I'm not seeing any reference to her here. I mean, I see the name, Julia Sable in the correspondence, but it's offer an invitation to a Walker Foundation event that the beverage company was sponsoring. But
What was the date of that?
that was some 6 months ago.
Johnny, was it right before the murder of Walker? That was 6 months ago.
No, that wasn't 6 months ago. That was 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I thought you said it was the spring. It was the summer.
We are in summer now. 3 weeks ago, it was spring.
Oh, okay.
We're at the beginning of
I was under the
summertime.
impression months ago. Okay. All right.
No. It's 3 weeks ago. So that was at the end of the end of spring, and this is the beginning of summer. So, and she's typing it. She's looking in, and she's like, that's really Malcolm. What did Lily say about her parents? Do you remember?
Yes. Her parents were doing something, and Lily didn't like it, and so she stole a giant, and she ran away. But then when we were in Cal's office, you came in, and you were like, zip, 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 and there was a board with pictures on it, and lots of fun strings, and Lily's parents were on there, and they were connected to Mr. Walker and a bad guy. And you said you know more about it than she did. And she said, tell me about it. And then she got mad. And then we had to go back. And then we fought the cat lady.
Right. So I know all of the connections that you're talking about, that board I had. What did she say specifically about her parents? There was something she said about her parents.
Oh, I don't know. This young woman that Malcolm met, her parents are the sole shareholding owners of Chow Industries. They were trying to partner with, after trying to make they were trying to, it looks like, take a hostile takeover of Pandora's Delights. The sisters were able to kind of fend them off easily, and now they're trying to do a partnership. But they were also a sponsor on that event 6 months ago, and they're, I'm not sure what. And she kind of digs through a little bit more, and comes back, and she's like, oh dear, oh shit. They're also trying to take over. They're trying to do a hostile takeover or negotiate something for a company by the name of MCX, Meta Core X, I think, is something like that. That's unusual. And MCX's employees were seen at the library. Or there's a couple of dead bodies. How do they have this information? Gephardt, they've got police files in here.
Flora. There are police files in here. Murder files?
Investigation files. They shouldn't have access to this. Why the sisters have access? The sisters company have access
Your
to
case?
this.
Your case.
No, I don't believe so.
Give me the file numbers. I'll be able to look up whose cases they were and who leaked them.
And
presumably.
she pulls up the information, and it's the case, the disappearance of Alexis Dere at the public library, and there were 3 murder victims associated with that case.
That body, the markings. JP, you were in the corner. Malcolm, do you remember that body I showed you?
Mm-hmm.
The markings and the fibers that they found.
The cat.
Would I know who is it? Just that case files? Just for that?
They appear to have case files for all 3 sisters. disappearance.
Was the same person would I know working all three of those cases?
No, you know that Derek Roth is working the Phoebe case. You know that Catherine Devereaux is working the Alexis case, which is the library. There isn't a lead investigating detective for the Megan case because it's considered a disappearance at this point. Okay. There wasn't any violence.
Could I...
Or a missing person at this point.
Flicker, could you look in the emails and see if someone sent this to them? Search in the subject and in the body. Anything with that last name.
And she begins to type. No, they... And she kind of pulls something up on the screen, and what you see is the login screen, or actually the main menu of the electronic version of the case file system for the city's police department.
So it was like in their browsing history.
Like they've got access. They have unencumbered access to the city police's investigations.
Look up and see if they saved any of their files from any of their cases, or.
Well, the three cases here were flagged, and that was how I got to this particular point. So.
Can you look and see if there's any emails? And she'll give them the domain name of like the police station. See if you can do a lookup if any emails were sent to or from the police.
Can we take these with us?
So she specifically wants to know if anyone from that domain, from the police station or any of the, like, you know, the government, any form of government, like me as a morgue worker, I could send it, but I'm not going to have the same email address or domain as the police.
Right, but what are you trying? What information are you trying to get from that? Like
if anyone sent them credentials to be able to log in, or anything else that would point at, you know, hey, here's case files, or hey, here's a login, or hey, you know, anything. Bye, Johnny. There he is.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you do not see anything that indicates that they were granted access. They just have access. And to answer Gepard's question, Flicker looks at you and says, "This is hardwired. This is a situation where they have a direct connection into." Wait a minute. And she starts typing, and she pulls up the intranet for the city government, mayor's office, the district attorney's office, public works.
They have access to everything.
And unfettered access to all of that.
Do me a favor. Do you mind? And she'll go and log in as herself to coroner's reports as well as the morgue and see if that account has accessed, or you know what I mean, has accessed those files from the bodies. You know what I mean? You'd be able to check and see if they have access to that.
Oh yeah, they have access. They have unfettered access to everything.
But did they access the bodies that she was looking at? Is that what you're asking? To see if they kind of checked on your work?
No, you don't see any active record to that. You only see the case file directly related to the case files directly. You only see reference to directly related to case files in respect to the three sisters' disappearance, as if somebody's monitoring it.
Okay, then for my third one, if they figured all this out, I want the case file for my case.
I can get that for you, Gephardt. Don't do that. I can get you that.
Will it be the same one? They could have made it look any way they want to if they can get into it.
So you want the original copy?
I want what they have. And then you get yours and we will compare.
And she slaps in a USB stick. Look, there's a bunch of things I need from this. Give me a little bit more time, and she starts typing. Right, and she's going through, and she's typing a bunch of things. And at one point, she just kind of hands this off to you. This is the case file for you, and it's all the related, coroner information about your families and everything else. Just don't look at the coroner's reports on your family, please. Pictures are gruesome. And she continues to type.
Is there anything about evil wizards or sea monsters in there?
No.
As soon as she goes back, he puts the stick, the thumb drive in his jacket. He turns around to Malcolm, and he says, "Come, boy, we must man the gates. Gather your troops. I believe the enemy is coming." And he reaches in and pulls out his sword as well, and he holds it up to clash steel with Malcolm.
We'll talk about sea monsters later. Okay, bye.
And they
Flicker.
charge off.
Flicker.
Where do you
before
charge off to?
Just to guard, just to be in the pattern with the ninjas and everything like that, because Gepard's done what he needs to do.
Okay.
Can I ask Flicker something before she?
Well, yeah. So they're off right now. It's you and JP kind of near Flicker,
I'm still running around on the top of these,
being ninja.
sneaking around, keeping an eye out.
Flicker, do you think it would be wise for me to set a trap? They have access to all of this. I have access to some of it.
Trap for what? I mean, this is. What are you trying to accomplish with a trap?
I put up false reports, maybe saying that we have the body of Megan. I can remove the alerts that go out for a new intake for a patient, for a body. They search, they look for anything with certain keywords, as we are, and they get notified. We see who comes knocking. Doesn't have to be a dead sister, but something of the sort.
Wow. I guess. I mean, I don't know. That might work. I don't know what you'll draw, but it's clear that whatever's going on here, it's. We won't know who accesses it from here if that's what you're trying to get to, right? I had to come in here to get access, and I can't guarantee that I'll ever be able to get back in again.
If you create a backdoor, you could.
No, it's not going to work that easy here, right? Their system security is unbelievable. It took everything I had just to get us access into the building. In fact, it seemed like it was too easy after me having difficulty for 3 weeks.
Can you make a copy?
Of what?
Screenshots of logs, anything. The access to the database, you could see that their history is before we were ever even here.
All right, I'll do what I can. Our time is running out, though. We've been here for a couple of hours at this point. My access, it was temporary. We need to get out of here soon, so I'll make a copy. But we've got to go.
When we're out of here, and you've helped Mr. G and JP, I think you know that I have a favor to ask, but now's not the time. And she'll turn around and walk back.
And you see her kind of typing. And so, another 20 minutes go by, and you see her packing up. And she's starting to walk back. Okay, I've got a bunch of stuff. I've got a bunch of information. I don't know what's going to be relevant. I don't know if we're going to be able to get back in here, but we need to go. My credentials are going to, expire very shortly, and then we're going to get locked into this building, and who knows what's inside of here.
You'll see Flora pull out a different pair of gloves and put them on, and she just has like a solution on a rag from her kit, and she's wiping the fingerprints off the keyboard, the chair, the desk, the tops of the servers, just on the edges, so that at a first glance, unless you crawled up there, you wouldn't see anything. She's just wiping fingerprints if she can.
Oh, okay. You do know I can move fast, right? And she kind of flutters real quick, and she kind of moves around with a rag.
Flora feels useless, sprays a little bit more, and just hands it to her.
And she grabs it, and she covers all of the area, including where JP was walking. And she just kind of cleans up, and she's like, "Okay, can we go now? Because
yes,
I can move fast, but it's the four of you."
Yes.
Malcolm, are you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay, well let's get out of here.
Okay.
And she hits the door. She hits the button on the elevator, and as it opens, you see 4 big, burly security guards begin to step out,
Yes.
and that's where we're gonna end it.
Awesome.
Hello, boys.
Sweet deal.
You let them in.
Who let the? No. we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
All right.
Oh man. So I have been going back and forth with McLokin all night about how excited he is about what's happening, and he won't let me tell him any secrets, but he wants to know all the secrets
About the Kraken.
about everything, especially the Kraken.
Of course he does.
So yeah, so that's gonna be interesting. I hope that ends in a one shot. I think that would be cool.
Maybe
so-
it just begins in a one shot.
No, I think that would have to end in a one shot. I think that would be an end for both Malcolm and Johnny in that situation. But I can't say any more than that because it starts to give away stuff. So yeah, that'll be really cool. So let's go around, introduce our cast and crew, and get your thoughts on this game before we go raid one of our friends. So, Johnny, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of tonight's episode?
You know who I am. It's in chat. I thought tonight's game was... it didn't go the way I expected. I expected a fight at the beginning. So there was a little bit of a different pace tonight. That being said, I like where it went. It didn't get to the ultimate conclusion that I was kind of hoping for tonight, but yeah, you guys did some pretty cool stuff tonight, and there was a lot more revealed. I'm excited for Gephardt to kind of figure out, ultimately what's going on for him. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gephardt figuring things out, Greg, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of tonight's episode?
Oh, I loved it. Greg, Grimjack21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. I liked it a lot because we were able to get in some interpersonal stuff and kind of do team forming a bit. And that stuff is always super duper fun. Still getting the hang of the system. We had some ridiculous rolls by young Malcolm. We all actually had some pretty good rolls, but I made my first roll at the end of the 3rd episode. I almost made it through without rolling until Johnny
That was
like,
your first roll?
my
No, it
first
wasn't.
roll.
no, it wasn't.
It was absolutely my first roll.
Oh, I
No,
think
it
it
wasn't.
totally was.
It
I'm
was
going back and looking
100%,
right now. I don't believe you, so I'm gonna look.
Scroll forever.
100%, man, first roll. I was just seeing how long I could cruise, but anyway, I had a great time. You can join me. Let's see, what am I doing now? Oh yeah, Saturday night on the Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons, 6 to 9 for some Learn by Play, and then on my own channel, Grimjack21502, Pulp Cthulhu Sundays at 7 to 9 Eastern, punching Nazis and having fun. But I am enjoying this quite a bit. Gephardt is quickly becoming a favorite, but I think I like Gephardt plus Malcolm right now. It's working a little bit better for me.
It's pretty
I
damn
want
good.
Gephardt plus JP and Gephardt plus Flora here too.
Yeah.
So we'll work. Next,
Yeah, Flora is hard to love. And speaking of which, Mr. Ninja, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think of today's episode?
Fuck you too. I'm Xmas Ninja. I had a lot of fun tonight. You guys can catch me playing video games and other stuff like that on my channel. I think we need to have more daytime interaction. So we can see a little bit more of Flora.
Gephardt didn't meet her.
All right.
You got
So I
lucky
just
text
looked.
though.
I just looked, Greg. Gephardt rolled a convince last week
Oh, shit.
and a take a risk. It was not your first roll.
Got him.
It was when you were fighting the guys outside while we got away, I believe.
Maybe.
Shit. Snap.
I bet
Great.
you're having a great conversation right now.
No. Those were my practice rolls. Check the dates on those. Those were to make sure my thing was working. I never did any of those. I
Oh,
guarantee you,
man.
I'm still the winner. Woo!
Just put the ending screen on.
So we've heard from Miss Ginger Ninja. Let's hear from someone who's not a ninja. Sam, who are you? What are you doing here? And what did you think about tonight?
I'm Sam, Wizenful on Twitch, the Wizenful on Twitter. I'm on a bunch of different games all over the place. Follow me on Twitter because I always tweet and retweet. Some things are on hiatus, so I'm not sure what I'm actually playing in the near future. But yeah, I had a great time tonight. My favorite things, far and away, my favorite things were definitely the daytime flora as well as the Gephardt Malcolm flicker hole interaction. I like that dynamic a lot. And I'm also really excited. I've been trying very hard to avoid like actually getting into fights with JP, even though that's like absolutely what he's best at. But now that he's like well and truly back to the corner, we'll get maybe next week some of the skills that he was built around. So we'll see.
Hell yeah. Awesome. So guys, this is 6&Twenty Metropolis. This is an endeavor that is across 3 different channels. Tuesday night is Video Store Cowboy. Wednesday night is obviously tonight, and tomorrow night is Not So Speedruns. You can see Meta and McLoken, who are currently in chat. They'll be playing tomorrow on #Team Esper. If you guys want a copy of this game, if you type !missed in chat, if you use the coupon code 6&20FAN, all one word, on cityofmist.co/store, you guys can get the hardcover book. Exclusively with this offer, you also get a free PDF and you get $5 off the book. So it is the only deal you can get them bundled together. So if you want this, go ahead and use that code and get that offer in there. And if you want to see more of my fantastic, beautiful, wonderful face, come hang out with us on all of our social media. And we'll be here tomorrow streaming 2 Million Tales, Havoc in the Hinterland, my homebrew D&D 5e game. And for now, we're going to get the hell out of your hair and we're going to go raid the Bubberknot, who's currently playing some Shackled City homebrew D&D stuff. So, with that, guys, from all of us to you, bye-bye!